Well, updates from Old Trafford and from the EFL, but our commentary tonight is of Sevilla against Arsenal. Here's your commentary team, former Benfica fullback Scott Minto, alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterface.
Well, Adrian, thank you very much. The Champions League is very much the most prestigious club competition on the planet, but it wasn't always thus. Before Sir Bobby, who is being honoured across Europe, won it in 1968, the FA and the Football League hadn't always seen its value. But football's great gentlemen changed all that. Now it's the best competition in club football and everybody wants to be a part of it. Nobody wants to leave. It's one hell of a spectacle inside this stadium tonight. Fans on the sides have been asked by the club, Sevilla, to come dressed in white, those on the ends in red. It's forming a terrific mosaic. Huge banners coming up in front of us as the players walked out. No one loves you like we do, say the supporters of Sevilla, who are starting a brand new era. Arsenal, if they want to stay in the Champions League after Christmas, have to get something on Spain's Sunshine Coast this evening. And as we get underway in Sevilla tonight, they will know that they're up against a team that struggled early on in the season, found winning difficult, changed their coach, sit 13th in La Liga. But when they have won this season, Scott Minto, they have won here. And you can tell just by being in the stadium, listening to the atmosphere, feeling the further from the stand, why that's the case.
No, absolutely. It's well known around Spain, just, the atmosphere that this stadium can bring. And Diego Alonso in his first game, well, it was a decent point, wasn't it, against Real Madrid? But I think Mendilibar can count himself a little bit unlucky despite the poor start to the season in the league, what he did last season. But yeah, just in terms of the game tonight, now Arsenal, again, it's another one of those, a bit like Lens. It was always going to be difficult with Lens coming back into Europe and the Champions League, and now we're talking about Sevilla as well. They want to not just win the Europa League, they want to go deep into the Champions League competition as well. So this will be tough at the start, but I still feel that player for player, Arsenal are the better side.
Bursting forward, Sevilla on halfway in white shirts, white shorts, black shorts. It's Marcos Acuna who comes over the halfway line in possession, and then the gnarled old centre-back Sergio Ramos sends the ball back to his goalkeeper. Arsenal in dark shirts, dark shorts and white socks today. It's dark blue and green they're wearing this evening, attacking the goal away to our right. They've got Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Tomiyasu, Ødegaard, Jorginho and Rice in midfield, Saka, Jesus and Martinelli up top. And for Sevilla, Neelan is the goalkeeper. You might remember him from the Premier League and other leagues in England. He played in the Championship as well, Norwich, Reading, Bournemouth. He let in the goal actually once, which should have counted. The GDS didn't work at Aston Villa, you might remember. Navas is the right back, Goodell, Sergio Ramos and Marcos Acuna. Boubakary Samare in midfield with Dibrel So, and Rakitic is behind Campos, Enesiri and Luca Bacchio in attack. 0-0, we played 2 minutes and 13 seconds in Andalusia, and Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0 is the scoreline. As soon as we get any goals elsewhere, we'll update you here on Talksport. Arsenal never got going on Saturday at Stamford Bridge, but the home fans know that this is a tough game. AS, the big Spanish sports daily, saying this morning, Arteta will test the Diego Alonso effect. They know they had a good point one in the game against Real Madrid on Saturday. Can they back that up tonight? Ben White has the ball in his hands halfway inside Sevilla territory, wide on the right hand side for Arsenal, tossing it down the line and looking for Gabriel Jesus, who's been useful in this competition so far. He runs out of room, it bounces behind and goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, a bit of a waste that, wasn't it? Just a simple throw-in that was played way over Gabriel Jesus from Ben White, but interesting without the ball, in much the way that Chelsea did in like almost a 4-4-2, where they had Conor Gallagher pushing on to the Arsenal defence. It's Martin Ødegaard who's actually pushing on alongside Gabriel Jesus as well. Though I'm not saying that Mikel Arteta learned anything from what happened on Saturday, but it's very, very similar indeed.
After a good night against Madrid, they are looking for a great night in Europe against Arsenal. And there was another banner high away to our left-hand side which signalled that too. Here's Declan Rice, who was caught there from behind and wasn't happy about it. Saka was then bullied by Acuna. and it's going to be a free kick just in from the touchline on this near side, the right. There was a little bit of something left on Declan Rice by Ivan Rakitic, was it? And may well have been involved in that. Might have been a Campos, actually.
Yeah, well, Campos may be a winger, but he's quite happy to make some tackles and run around, as I was saying to Adrian earlier. But you saw a one-on-one situation with Saka and Acuna. And Acuna, of course, being a World Cup winner, he's a very experienced player, 31 years of age. I'll tell you what, there's almost no one who would want Bukayo Saka running at him in a one-on-one situation. I thought Cucurella dealt with him really well at the weekend, and sometimes when that happens, the very next game you say, right, I want to impress again. We know how good Saka is. He's one of the stars of England right now, so get him on the ball as much as possible and get him, as I say, that running at Acuna.
Ben White into Ødegaard, who's engaged by Ramos. He hoiks the ball in towards Jesus inside the penalty area. It's dealt with well and cleared by Sevilla. Out towards this left-hand side, back by Saliba, away by Acuna, and then it's headed down and away by En-Nesyri, and then popped forward, and Luka Bacchio is invited to chase through the middle, and David Raya, who they've obviously heard about, comes out a little bit too far outside his penalty area and then has to backtrack into the box to gobble the ball up ahead of dirty Luka Bacchio.
Well, look, if I were Sevilla, I'd be testing David Raya completely, and especially pressing high, which they don't seem to be doing. But look, David Raya, the first real test, he came out, then tracked back because he realised he could let the ball go into the box, and fair play to him. It was good judgment.
He just tossed the ball down the left side. Arsenal looking for the run of Martinelli, and that might be a silk road because he is so rapid. He can generate all sorts of opportunities. Rice has taken it on after winning the ball high up, down the left, plays the ball into the penalty area, looking for Jesus, cut away by the Sevilla defence, but only as far as Martinelli, and Arsenal have won a throw over on the far side. But let's go on to a game in the Championship, the John Smith, because there's a goal for Mark Wilson.
Yeah, Huddersfield 0, Cardiff City 2. A good goal as well it was. Bolo was denied, a fine save from Nichols. Ball went out for a corner whipped in. Dimitrios Gutas powered the header past Nichols from 6 yards out. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 2.
Back here, Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0, but Tomiyasu with a good chance. Martinelli down the right-hand side and then cutting in and shooting with his right foot on the edge of the penalty area, low to the goalkeeper's right, and smashing a load of water bottles behind the goal, away to our right-hand side, behind Orjan Neelan. As Tomiyasu's effort fizzing past the post, it was a good yard or so wide of the upright, but I think it looked more spectacular because those bottles went spraying into the night sky.
Yeah, it was half a chance, but I think it would have been difficult at that angle, the defenders that were behind between him and the goal, and to beat Neeland as well. But it's been a positive start from Arsenal, I have to say. They're trying to press as high as they possibly can. You don't want Sevilla in their own half.
Campos down the left and looking for the run of Acuna, who's gone on the underlap, putting pressure on Saliba, and Saliba's held on well and then took the ball away for a throw, which is midway between the byline and the edge of the penalty area, wide on the left hand side. Acuna, who's small and squat, big broad shoulders and a very tiny neck, needs to try and throw the ball on from the left hand side. He throws it in towards the edge of the penalty area, but it's not controlled and it's cleared away by Arsenal momentarily. Comes back through the middle of the pitch. It's picked up by Goodell, who tries to send the ball long into the Arsenal half, but it's miles away from anyone in white, and Thiago Alonso just rams his hands into his pockets and stalks back into his technical area. We played 7.5 minutes, no real chances. That Tomiyasu half chance, pretty much the only side of goal we've had so far. Live on Talksport, Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, there's a chance there to try and press David Raya on the ball, but Sevilla didn't take them up on it. Quite sure, I quite understand exactly the pressure he's under.
Jesus on the left-hand side, and now on the overlap down the left is Martinelli, who goes up against the goalkeeper, who comes out, makes a good save, comes back to Martinelli and goes behind, and it dribbles away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. It was a great opportunity. Mikel Arteta knows it. He looks to the heavens, knowing that the speed of Jesus and Martinelli have outfoxed that Sevilla defence.
Well, I'll tell you what a chance that was. And it was just a simple ball to Gabriel Jesus, who stayed onside by staying in his own half. He laid it into Martinelli. And to be fair to Martinelli, he took the touch. You can see exactly what he was trying to do. And Neelan just stuck out the leg. It's a good save, but what a wonderful opportunity to go 1-0 up and quieten the crowd here.
Well, I thought when I was watching the game on Saturday night that the speed of Martinelli was so rapid, it causes so many problems for a defence. When you get him into the game properly, you play that ball in behind, if you give him room to run, he will always create chaos for you. And I think over on that far side, where he's trying to run in between Goodell, 31 years of age, and 37-year-old Jesus Navas, he's got a real opportunity to exploit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Aid was asking earlier on about, do you think about that front three, any changes they could make? And certainly they've got much more strength in depth. But Bukayo Saka picks himself, as we know, with Mikel Arteta. And I just think Martinelli, with his pace, his trickery, you always have to start him. You can give him 60 minutes. If it doesn't happen for him, then take him off. But he's a wonderful talent, he really is, and that was a great chance to go 1-0 up.
Joe Rankin-Costello has scored for Blackburn away at Millwall. It's 1-1 there after 22 minutes. The ball is into the edge of the penalty area, played to the edge of the 6-yard box, so Campos tries to steer it goalwards, and it's well wide of David Raya's left hand upright, coming in off the left hand touchline, and then steered towards goal.
It's been a pretty open start, hasn't it, really? Arsenal certainly created the best chance of the game so far. Sevilla playing at home, trying to be on the attack. I wouldn't say they're going all out, both teams, but certainly I do believe that Arsenal can open up this Sevilla defence, and certainly Sevilla will try and create something.
Played 10 minutes, Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0. Live on Talksport tonight. More Champions League football involving Manchester City tomorrow coming your way. Thursday night Europa League action for you. Friday night we're back in the Premier League with Tottenham, top of the table Tottenham, away at Crystal Palace. Saturday Chelsea Brentford. The Sunday session comes from the Manchester Derby as we give you all the action. We're around the grounds with Adrian on Saturday afternoon. There's no better way to spend your Saturday afternoon than listening to that fellow whiz you around the grounds. And the full-time phone-in with the boys straight after Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor. Always rich with entertainment. 0-0. Forward by Goodell, out towards Rakitic, who's had quite a few touches of the ball so far. Luka Bacchio plays it back into the halfway line. Ball picked up by Sumare and then turned back to Sergio Ramos, who was up to some of these old tricks in the game against Real Madrid on Saturday night. The ball goes back to Neelan and it's cleared right through the middle of the pitch. Well won by Saliba, who nods it forward through the centre circle and out to Jesus, who peels away to the left. Feeds Martinelli, who's a yard in from the left touchline, tries to take on the defender, cuts back in, lays it to Jesus, edge of the box, needs a bit of trickery to get out of a tight spot because he's surrounded by 4 white shirts. Sevilla defending deep and getting into a good shape, which makes them difficult to break down, but Arsenal work the ball back out wide again. Jesus, Martinelli tries to play a 1-2 with Jorginho and succeeds, tries to feed Erdogan on the edge of the D, and it's cut out by Acuna, who gives it straight back again, and Arsenal putting the pressure on here. Rice in the number 10 position at this moment in time, high up the field and in territory which Sevilla would deem dangerous, and then all of a sudden Arsenal have to go backwards rather than forwards, but that was a period of pressure, the first we've seen of that kind, Scott Minter.
Yeah, and look, let's not forget that Arsenal were in control and won up, of course, against Lens away from home. But they've started this game really, really well. On the front foot with the ball and pressing without it as well. They're putting Sevilla under pressure.
Don't want to get sucked into any of Sergio Ramos's games. He was at it at the weekend, bullying Bellingham, pushing Vinicius, grabbing Rudiger's cheeks. He also produced a defensive masterclass, but largely this has been a rather testing season for Sevilla fans, and that was one of the few bright spots. Good stop by Jesus Navas, who's playing well not only for club but for country, still at the age of 37. Chips the ball down the right-hand side and tries to feed Rakitic. Across goes Gabriel and gets in his path, nudges into the floor, and then exchanges passes with Rice, and they look to try and build the way up the pitch again. Arsenal 0-0 the score. A little bit for Jorginho to do as he's surrounded by En-Nesyri and De Campos, but he managed to squeeze it out to Ben White, who looks a pretty picture with his permatan and his newly dyed... Is that platinum? I mean, you're more of an expert on these things than me.
You are, Sam. I was just going to say, are you jealous, or are you going for that next?
It's on the list.
You certainly know where he is, Ben White.
Jorginho back to Tomiyasu, out towards the wide left, just in from the touchline. Martinelli takes the ball, runs at speed, then stops it and takes on Jesus Navas, turns the ball back in field to Tomiyasu, and then finds Gabriel on the edge of the centre circle. There's a lot of youthful exuberance and maybe sometimes a bit of naivety in this Arsenal squad. Many have made their Champions League debuts in this season's competition. think that was definitely on show in the Lens game. 1-0 up away from home, and then they ended up not only conceding an equaliser but losing their concentration and discipline and losing that game.
Do you know, I've just remembered. Ben White and I got the same hairdresser. I'm seeing him tomorrow.
So it's next on your agenda.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I would love it if you turned up at Stamford Bridge on Saturday lunchtime looking like that.
Yeah, I couldn't get away with that, I'm afraid. Not anymore. But look, I mean, you know, watching the game so far, I'm loath to say that Arsenal don't have anything to be scared about, but they're in control of this situation. They're in control of the tempo. Another thing I would say as well, the pitch looks terrible. It's cutting up completely. Maybe not the easiest to play the kind of free-flowing football that Arsenal like to do, but I feel they're first to the ball more often than not. I think they're better pressing without the ball. And if they can just get the two wide players in and get, you know, the one-on-one situations, get the ball to Saka, get the ball to Martinelli, then just leave them alone and see what they can do. I genuinely believe they've got the better and the beating of the fullbacks.
I think the pitches have been cutting up because of the rain and because of the fact that there's been a huge heat wave. Then there was loads of deluge of rain. It's been a real problem across Spain. Some of the pitches have really taken a bit of a battering. This one certainly is no mistake. The Estadio Sanchez Pizjuan is a absolute cauldron at the best of times, and tonight is no different as Campos tries to squeeze through a very tight gap. White closes that gap with Saliba, gets it back to David Raya, who hoiks the ball upfield, but it's Sergio Ramos who wins it, knees it down and gives it to Luka Bacchio. Lovely bit of skill to body swerve away from two players. Rakitic spreads the play towards the right hand side. It's cut out by Martinelli, who's now on the escape. Samari with a challenge. Referee says play on because he thought initially he was going to be able to play an advantage, then couldn't. Martinelli was fouled by Samare. Going to be a free kick just in front of the centre circle inside the Arsenal half. 0-0.
Yeah, he looked dangerous already, Martinelli, isn't he? You can see they're trying to stop him at source once he gets running. Anyone can really catch him. So Arsenal, I think they look dangerous when they're on the ball and just passing it around. I also think they're very dangerous in the counter-attack.
Mikel Arteta taking charge of a game in Spain for only the second time. He never won either of the two games against Villarreal 2 years ago when he came up against Spanish opposition. 17 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport. Over on Talksport 2, Leicester are taking on Sunderland. Right now that scoreline is Leicester 1, Sunderland 0. James Justin with the goal. After 12 minutes, they play 14 minutes of that game. If you want to listen to it, you can get our app. You can flick between the two stations. No goals in the Champions League so far this evening as we have a pause in play here for a foul. Bayern Munich have already beaten Galatasaray and Manchester United's group by 3-1, and Inter Milan have beaten Red Bull Salzburg by 2-1. In the Championship, the latest scorelines: Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 2, Millwall 1, Blackburn 1, Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 0, Swansea 0, Watford 0, Leicester 1, Sunderland 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. That one only just underway because the Queen's Park Rangers coach was slow to arrive. There's a joke in there somewhere. Ball's back to the goalkeeper, Neelan. As we get back underway live on TalkSport. Click down the touchline and it goes straight out of play towards the dugouts, and Ben White will have a throw. I spoke to an Arsenal fan in the last 24 hours who said that his team, he believed, hadn't really played that well this season, maybe with the exception of the PSV game. I mean, it's a nice place to be, unbeaten in the league, second in the Champions League group without being at your very best, but you sort of get what he means. They haven't clicked for 90 minutes yet, have they?
No, but what I would say is that, look, they have beaten Manchester City, they've beaten Manchester United, they've beaten Bournemouth away heavily and got good away wins against Everton and Palace. They're 2 points off the top in the Premier League, and you know, I think they're almost any other season, but because it's following last season, I think you'd be saying this is a brilliant start. But because they were so good last season, I think, look, there's been new signings, they haven't always bedded in, there's been a couple of injuries, and I think the individuals have been good without being brilliant where they were last season. But absolutely, the fact that where they are, and you feel they've still got another gear, is good for the Arsenal fans and even so for the Premier League as well.
Ball switched by Sergio Ramos from halfway out towards the right. Luca Bacchio takes it down. Black socks with pink trim, plays it out to the right. The cross is from Navas, is a beautiful one, it usually is. It bounces inside the 6-yard box, but it's over the head of Ocampos and goes out on this near side. But when you've got En-Nesyri, who's scored 5-headed goals already, and Ocampos lurking at the back post, the bullets being fired in from Jesus Navas are there, aren't they, to be eaten up. That was another great delivery from him. He did a couple of those at the weekend.
Yeah, look, that's what they'll look to try and do, but you'd also like to think from an Arsenal point of view they'll be able to deal with that. Not only are Gabriel and Saliba very good in the air, but you've got Tomiyasu and Ben White, who you could argue really are centre-backs first and foremost, but playing in that full-back position. So I think they've got 4 very good defenders that are able to handle not just a bit of pace and the balls just sliding in down the side, but also those crosses coming in as well.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons that they've played with Tomiyasu tonight is because of that necessity of height in the back line. Zinchenko did come off during the game against Chelsea, didn't he? And he has played an accumulation of matches because he's went on international duty, etc. It's something that Mikel Arteta touched upon in his pre-match interview tonight. Saka out on this near side, tussling with Acuna.
The thing is, Sam, if you're big centre forwards and you've got, say, 3 of the back 4 who are very tall indeed, but then there's one fullback who's not, you're going to play in him all the time, and you're going to say to the people, look, cross it, and I'll peel out to him. You can't do that with these Arsenal back 4 because they're all very tall and very good in the air. So I think it's absolutely a spot-on decision from Mikel Arteta. Whether Zinchenko was tired or not, he's on the bench, so he could have played him. I think defensively speaking, it was the right decision.
There's a huge glut of players in the middle of the park here. It's congested midfield, and Arsenal at the moment in possession on the left-hand side, playing it back by Tomiyasu to Gabriel. En-Nesyri runs towards Saliba. He plays it square into the path of Gabriel once again, and then Declan Rice drops in, plays it back into the middle of the Arsenal defence. Jorginho, Saliba, and then back out wide, and then the press comes on from Sevilla, and they go all the way back to the goalkeeper, who was brought in to provide them with a different option. And I think we've seen that a couple of times, especially when Havertz is playing, and he's just given the ball away cheaply. He's ball back in towards Luca Bacchio, who can't control it, and Raya is there, and he just about picks it up. But that's the issue that you've got. You invite that pressure, they were pushed back all the way by Sevilla and then forced into an error.
Yeah, but Sam, that's why Raya was brought in to be able to deal with those situations. That's the first time Sevilla have really tried to press Arsenal, and he gave the ball away.
Martinelli down the left, skating forward, and then teeing the ball up for Declan Rice, who grabs over onto it after Tomiyasu stepped on the ball. It goes back out to Martinelli, who's being tracked by Jesus Navas, and then into Tomiyasu, scoop forward to Martinelli, comes over his shoulder, covering was Ramos, and Sergio Ramos takes it to the wide right position, and then just he holds off Martinelli like a small child. You know when you sort of sometimes have those play fights as a dad with your kid, and you say, go on, punch me, but you hold their head and they can't reach it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Ramos was doing to Martinelli there.
The arms are going, but they're not reaching, are they? Because his arm is so long. But to be fair to Martinelli, actually he's won the throw-in there, so where physically he's not as good.
Here he is on the left-hand side in space, into Jesus inside the penalty area, who tries to curl the ball towards the far corner after getting it stuck under his feet, and he couldn't quite get enough whip on it to bring it inside the post. Well, they got a little bit lucky and unlucky in the same phase of play there. Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus with a chance, and at this stadium, at this stage, that is a chance for Arsenal.
No, absolutely is a chance. He's inside the box. You know, Sevilla defenders are trying to get close to him, but he still was able to get the shot off. He'd be disappointed he didn't at least hit the target.
Jorginho into Rice, onto Ødegaard, right on the edge of the Sevilla box now, deep inside opposition territory, trying to forage to get hold of the ball, and they make another mistake at Campos this time, who didn't have a great spell at Ajax, and then came back after a brief loan spell. He was supposed to go to Ajax to replace Anthony. Handball against Jorginho as the clearance is whacked upfield. He was supposed to go and replace Anthony last summer at Campos. He was there for 6 months. He hardly played. I think he played 115 minutes or something like that, and they sent him back. Both of those moves didn't really work out as planned. Anthony's still waiting to set the world alight at Old Trafford. It's still 0-0, by the way, between Manchester United and Copenhagen. They played 20 minutes there. We played 23 minutes here. It's still goalless in Andalusia. Union Berlin are 1-0 down against Napoli after 20 minutes. Real Madrid have taken the lead against Sporting Braga. Rodrigo with the goal in the Champions League tonight. Saliba and Gabriel got a job on their hands with En Nesyri this evening, and Gabriel just been punished for a little bit of a wrestling match. And if so,
didn't see anything wrong with it, to be honest with you. I thought there was two players really going for it. Gabriel won the physical side of it. The referee's giving it to Sevilla.
Rakitic sends the ball wide down the left. Good touch by Lucas Ocampos, but Bukayo Saka is back there doing his defensive duties. Something we criticise wide players a lot for, not doing their defensive duties, but he certainly, when he's on top form, does that, helps out the team. I saw him play at left wing back for the England under-17s in a tournament a few years ago, and certainly in the age group teams at England he was used in a variety of different positions. Such a versatile individual.
He's played that for the senior side as well for England, but there's no doubt about it, he's better as a right winger coming in on the inside. But whether he's playing well or whether he's not, you know, he'll always give 100% tracking back for the team, and I think that's what Mikel Arteta has installed in this Arsenal side, whereas Ten Hag hasn't yet for United.
12th appearance of the season for Bukayo Saka, and he's already popped in with 5 goals and 5 assists this campaign. He really is a gem. Here comes Luca Bacchio for Sevilla. 0-0 the score, 25 gone, live on Talksport. Floated forward by Samare out towards the near side. It's taken down well by Acuna, who's crossed into the box. He's dealt with by Saliba. He volleys the ball into the air. Back by Samare to the left-hand side, and Acuna's got it once again. And Sevilla looking to build. A little bit more possession now for the home team after 25 minutes of the game in Spain. Here is Gudel. Forward to Sergio Ramos, who scored an own goal against Barcelona the other week. It was the only goal of the game, the defining moment of that match. He's had a lively actually return to the team since coming back here for the first time in 18 years. It's only his 6th appearance.
He's had a lively career, I think it's fair to say.
He's one of those blokes that you just avoid going anywhere near. Ball played up towards Luca Bacchio, drops into the right full-back position, loses the ball, and now a chance to break after they've turned it over high up the field. A swashbuckling run by Rice. He goes down the left side, tries to pull it back towards Martinelli. It's in between him and Jesus, and wasn't enough accuracy on that. Saka wanted it in the centre. He didn't spot the run, and it goes out in the way for a throw-in over on the far side.
No, but it was good play from Declan Rice, wasn't it? Just one of those driving runs that we know he can do. Got into the box and he's cut the ball back. Unfortunately for him, he's cut it in between the two Arsenal players, but it's still Arsenal very much on the attack.
42,714 are able to squeeze into the Estadio Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, and there is quite a healthy Gunners contingent behind the goal. Around about 1,700 have made the journey. There's lots of rain around tonight, so they've moved back further up into the stand. There's only one section of this stadium with a roof. It's only one side that's got a roof. The rest of it is open to the gods. Gabriel Martinelli is going to take the corner kick over on the far side for Arsenal, attacking the Sevilla goal. Jesus and Ben White crowning the goalkeeper. There's 4 at the back post looking to run and dart towards the middle of the penalty box. Saka on the edge, Ødegaard on the D. It's played into the near post and Jesus, then back to Martinelli, and this kicks the ball.
Yeah, again, I think we talked about the pitch. That's got something to do with it there. As a well-worked corner, you could see. Jesus comes to the near post. It's played into him. And then it was meant to just pass it to the side, and Martinelli be able to cross the ball from inside the box. In the end, it didn't quite happen. A little bit bobbled over his foot, or just a poor pass from Jesus. But I definitely think the pitch conditions played a part in that.
Diego Alonso, who's started the game, the Sevilla coach, in the technical area with just his grey suit on and his very smartly pressed white shirt. He's now wearing a big jacket to keep out the rain. The ball has been sent back to the goalkeeper, Neelan. There's pressure on here from Martinelli. He's done that well and played it into midfield, and so
it wouldn't last, the nice crisp grey suit in this weather.
Here is Luca Bacchio charging forward towards the edge of the box. He was trapped well by Jorginho, and then it bounces for Ødegaard. Saka down, back from Jesus to Saka, who's racing over halfway, and he's got lots of green grass to run into, and Martinelli at the far post. He's held onto the ball, got to the edge of the box, left-footed, tries a strike, hits the back of Rakitic, and it's easily cleared away. Wonder whether or not he utilised that as well as he should have.
Oh yeah, he's come inside Acuna, and then he's up against the 35-year-old. I think he maybe could have shaped to shoot and then gone back down the outside, and he could have gone past Rakitic. He'd have had a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Would have been some sort of individual goal, but we know he's capable of it.
0-0 Sevilla and Arsenal live on Talksport tonight. Nicola Thorpe and Jeremy Kyle on Talks today are available every single morning, 6 a.m. on Talk TV. Chris Evans, Virgin Radio, 6:30, and Alan Brazil and Ali McCoy back together again tomorrow. And they'll be talking to the Arsenal legend, World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. All of those stations available on our app. Download it, you can flick between the lot. Here is Ødegaard.
What a player he was, by the way. Played against him. God,
not bad.
Had everything,
including incredible good looks and a wonderful mane of hair.
I knew you were going to say that the golden mane he had.
You can tell me, I'm so superficial. Here's Ben White. Just down the right, over the halfway line, clipping it over the top for Saka to try and race him behind, and he almost found him, Just coming in off that right touchline. What do you make of the Arsenal midfield makeup with Jorginho in there and Rice playing almost the sort of Xhaka role, just a little bit higher up on the left-hand side?
Yeah, I think Xhaka, fair play to him after what happened years earlier, and he made himself a really important player for Arsenal. I think Rice could definitely do that role. I think that's better for him, actually, to be able to push further forward. I just feel Jorginho, I like him, I do. I think he was a bit Marmite at Chelsea, but I personally liked him. He's a very experienced player. He is a leader. He wants the ball all the time, even in difficult situations, but he hasn't quite got the sort of athleticism than, say, of a Thomas Partey. So if you got Partey fully fit, I'd stick him in there. But I like the midfield, I really do. I'd just like to see a bit more of Martin Ødegaard.
He's had sort of flattered to deceive this season, hasn't he? I don't know whether he's had a little bit more extra confidence pumped through his veins from last year, so he's taking more touches of the ball and therefore not being as instinctive and keeping the move flowing as well, but that has been a bit of a problem. There's been a goal in the Championship at the John Smiths. Talksport, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, could be game over this one. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3 for the second time tonight. The Terriers undone from a corner, whipped in by Rawls. Gutas got first header on it. It fell beautifully for Yaku Meite, who's been outstanding tonight. He lashed it in from 7 yards. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3.
Millwall 1, Blackburn 1. Norwich and Middlesbrough still 0-0, just approaching half-time. Swansea 0, Watford 0. Over on Talksport 2, Leicester leading Sunderland by a goal to 0. And West Brom and Queen's Park Rangers are still 0-0. In League 1, Barnsley 2 up, Blackpool 3 up against Cheltenham. Stevenage 1-0 up away. Still 0-0 with the lead is Portsmouth. They're away at Cambridge tonight. Burton 1, Carlisle 0 away from home. Derby 1 up against Exeter. 1-1 Lincoln against Charlton. And Leyton Orient are 1 up, and so are Peterborough. And Wigan lead Oxford by a goal to 0. Bolton 2-0 up away at Wickham, and Reading 1 down to Fleetwood. There's a foul on this near side on Bukayo Saka, but it hasn't been given, and he is upset about it. He is holding his left ankle, and he doesn't look in great shape. Did he get crunched there by Campos, who was coming back to try and help out his defence?
Yeah, but I actually don't think it was a foul. He's gone down, he's hurt, and Saka's not the type of player to go down just for the sake of it, so I do hope he's okay, but I don't believe it was a foul. And actually, because it wasn't a head injury, I'm surprised the Sevilla players didn't just carry on, but he's down. He looks in pain at the moment.
He really does. In League 2, it's Accrington Stanley 2, Wimbledon 0, 0-0 Crewe Stockport, Salford 2-0 up against Doncaster, Barrow 2-0 up, Colchester 2-1 up against Grimsby. Lots of away scorelines there. Mansfield 3-0 up away at Harrogate, and Milton Keynes Dons 2-1 up against Bradford. 0-0 Morecambe Tranmere. Notts County 2-0 up against Newport. Gillingham 1-0 up away at Swindon. 0-0 Walsall Crawley, and Wrexham 1-0 up against Sutton. It's off to League 1 now, and Cambridge and Portsmouth are at half-time in Abrahams.
Cambridge 0, Portsmouth 0, Pompey dominating and have hit the woodwork. Abu Kamara's cross hit the woodwork. Cambridge haven't offered too much up front. It's Cambridge 0, Pompey 0 at the break.
Borough have won the last 6. They're away at Norwich tonight. Mike Shaw's there at half-time.
Norwich 0, Borough 0. Slow burner that took 20 minutes to get going. Since then, Middlesbrough have burned much brighter than their hosts. In fact, Norwich have been very sloppy in possession. Borough have had good chances through Engel and Hackney, but it remains 0-0 at half-time.
I think we'll go off to the Champions League game in Old Trafford very shortly. We're still getting treatment here for Bukayo Saka, which is a little bit of a worry, I think.
Yeah, I think he's limping towards the touchline now. I think he'll be okay. But we know how important he is to Arsenal. He's a wonderful player, not just to Arsenal, but to his country as well. And he's been played a lot. When he's fit, he does play. He's coming back onto the pitch, but just jogging very gingerly at the moment.
Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0. Live on Talksport. Still Manchester United 0, Copenhagen 0 in the game at Old Trafford. And it's vital that Manchester United win that game tonight.
They have to. They have to after what's happened in the first 2 games. I think it was a good result for them earlier on with Bayern Munich winning. They have to start winning themselves.
Declan Rice commits a foul deep inside Sevilla territory, wrestling Ivan Rakitic to the floor. Sevilla may have won the Europa League, but they are not in a great place and haven't been for a while. Their 12th place finish in La Liga last season was their worst in 23 years. They are yet to win in the Champions League this season. Arsenal don't want them starting tonight. They have a tough start to the season, but they are actually unbeaten in 5 matches here, although most of those are draws. Only won 2 of a dozen games this season, which was described in one of the papers this morning in Spain as a meagre 2 victories. One of them is Almeria. Here's Lucas Ocampos, edge of the D, trying to prise open the Arsenal defence. Puts the ball over the top. Across comes David Raya, running from the centre of the 6-yard box to the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Gobbles it up and will clear it away. We played 35 minutes. It's 0-0.
Yeah, yet to get a shot on goal, the home side. And I think if Arsenal just stay focused, stay concentrated, there's no way they should come out with anything less than a point. I don't believe there's anything to scare them not come away with all 3 points if they can just get a little bit better going forwards. Saka and Martinelli have looked dangerous at times. Rice has tried to do on those driving runs. Jorginho sitting in there. Just want to see more of Odegaard.
Tomiyasu coming in from left back and moving into midfield in the way that Zinchenko does. He's done that a couple of times. He gets forward really well in that inside left position, almost giving the ball away just moments ago. But he is an extra body in there, and what is already a congested midfield. That's why you need the wingers to stay really wide.
But they're all good footballers, you know, in every position. They can certainly play really well, so they can rotate. It's very difficult to mark and pick up. So yes, if they're coming into midfield, you want to make the wingers stay as wide as possible, make the pitch big there. Jesus can drop in and get hold of the ball. It's very difficult to pick up if you're the opposition.
37 on the clock, still goalless. Gabriel Martinelli's chasing over on the far corner. Jesus Navas heads it away. It's picked up by Saliba, who does really well to outmuscle En-Nesyri. Feeds Martinelli down the left wing position. He gets hold of it, and then he just lost a little bit of concentration, took the ball out of play.
He did. The ball was overplayed. I mean, it's a really good, first of all, tackle, then run from Saliba, but he kind of overplayed the ball. Again, I don't know whether it's these conditions, but you know, Martinelli looked like he felt he was going to get there, and in the end it was just too late. So a bit of a wasted opportunity there.
Half time in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee 0, Ross County 0. That's 10th against 11th in the Scottish Premiership tonight. Saliba gets the ball back to his goalkeeper and then was engaged by Ocampos. Saliba's got it back again, right edge of the box, plays it infield to Jorginho. Mikel Arteta with his 2 hands in the air, telling his players exactly what he wants from them as Tomiyasu picks it up and spreads it wide over the halfway line. Arsenal come. Martinelli runs up towards within about 5 yards of the box and then plays it back to Tomiyasu. Jorginho in the centre of midfield, wider on towards Odegaard, wearing that captain's armband. White goes on the outside, back to Saka, who's on the angle of the box. Arsenal on the attack here, trying to find a way through. Can they pierce this Sevilla resistance. At this moment in time, they've had a lot of ball in opposition territory without really cutting too many openings.
Yeah, I just talked about Odegaard there, and just the appreciation of the weight of pass for Ben White. He'd made a really good overlapping run, and he played it a little bit too quickly and too much behind him, so Ben White had to literally stop to control the ball instead of the ball being played in front of him. Then he could have whipped it in first time.
Arsenal have been absent from the title race and from the Champions League for 6 seasons. You know, it's all very new to them. Last season was a new experience. This season back in this competition is as well, as Luca Bacchio goes running down the right-hand side and produces a cross which is easily cleared away. Then there's a collision involving Martinelli, and so midway inside the Arsenal half, and both of them have come off badly from it, but Martinelli has been penalised, and this looks like a horrible collision.
Yeah, I think it probably is a foul from Martinelli. He's come in, but it's actually him who's come worse off as he's come down. Looks like he's hurt his ankle.
Let's go off to half-time at the John Smiths. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3. Cardiff in front inside 2 minutes. Callum Robinson's back heel deflected off a Huddersfield defender into the back of the net. Then Gutas planted a header from 6 yards out from a corner on 12 minutes. That was 2-0, and they could have had more after that. They did get one just before the break, again from a set piece. Yaku Mete lashed in from close range. Huddersfield booed off very loudly here, and rightly so. They've been pathetic. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3.
After about 15 minutes at Old Trafford, I saw a statistic which suggested that Copenhagen had had quite a few opportunities on goal and Manchester United had not. Has it improved, Mickey Gray?
Well, it's 37 minutes gone here, Sam. Still Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0. And you're right, Sam, for the first 15 minutes of the game, they were absolutely awful, the home side, and Copenhagen should have went in front. They had a real chance on 5 minutes from El Yunusi cross, and he found Goncalves over on the left-hand side, who volleyed it towards Manchester United's goal, and he hit the post, and it was all that the away side deserved, because they started the game absolutely fantastic. Man United have started to grow into it a little bit, but it's not a performance I don't think Erik ten Hag wanted to see so far. Really poor in the final third, needs to improve if they're going to win this game. Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0.
It's also 0-0 between Sevilla and Arsenal, but Arsenal got some defending to do with 5 minutes to go before half-time. They have a free kick. Rakitic will prize the ball into the box towards the far post, and it's too close to David Raya, and it's an easy catch for David Raya, and he bowls the ball out to Jesus, who immediately travels at speed down the touchline. He's bounced out of the playing service by Sumare, and a throw-in is given in his favour, but that was a good opportunity, and they took a lot of time over crafting that free kick and then gave it straight to David Raya.
Yeah, and someone like even Rakitic as well, with his experience and the ability he's got at set pieces, that was really poor. But what it does mean is that David Raya can gain even more confidence. He's been better as the game's gone on with the ball at his feet, and he can come out and claim there. There was a good catch from the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Sergio Ramos has just dragged Gabriel Jesus to the floor. Jesus has gone down, turns to the linesman and said, "How's he getting away with that?" He probably just looked at him and said, "It's Sergio Ramos, mate."
He's one of those players that, you know, he's got his own laws.
Jorginho tried to pitch the ball from Sumare as the home side played out from the back. White engaging with Campos manages to push them further back towards their home penalty area. We've played 41 minutes. It's still 0-0. There was a touching moment of unity yesterday when the Sevilla president and Mikel Arteta came together to remember Jose Antonio Reyes, who died in a car accident. If you were listening on Talksport 2, you would have heard Adrian pay tribute to him earlier today, around about 6:45. He died tragically in a car accident at the age of 35. He served both these clubs well and was part of that special 03-04 squad that won the title without losing a game. Still banners that adorn the Emirates Stadium that feature him prominently.
Yeah, heartbreaking, no matter what he did on the pitch, for someone to lose their life so young in a heartbreaking way. Yeah, really sad.
Jesus Navas swinging the ball from far side to near. Acuna engages with Sergio Ramos, exchanges passes, and then they move up towards the left-hand side. A long raking pass out to the right, looking for Luca Bacchio, but will be dealt with by Tomiyasu. And then Jesus nods the ball down into the path of Gabriel Martinelli, and Arsenal have got possession again with 3 minutes to go, and I think they've probably frustrated the Sevilla crowd, who are hoping for maybe a little bit more tonight. They've got a new head coach, they've got a new outlook after 7 months of their previous head coach. They decided to dispense with him. Terrible start to the season is the excuse for it. They've also got a new sporting director. You may know him. His name is Victor Orta. Especially fans of Leeds United will definitely have heard of him before.
Already making interesting decisions.
Certainly not sure. He's been giving an interview about the appointment as well, which is not a surprise either, because he never wanted to shun the limelight, Victor Orta. I was actually with a former colleague of him the other week after a game that I did, and it was just explaining that actually sometimes he does like to talk, but maybe the best option is silence. 90 seconds before the break.
Clearly he's not learning that in Spanish, is he?
He learnt at the heel of Monchi and has replaced him as the Sevilla director of football. Here is Sergio Ramos playing it square and then getting it back off Goodell and walking up towards the halfway line with a minute to go before the break. It's floated high out towards the right, taken down by Luca Bacchio, the former Hertha Berlin player, skating forward towards the edge of the box. He's got Martinelli for company, difficult to shake off, into So, looks to turn, he plays it further wide, and now Navas is going to get a cross in here, goes to take on Tomiyasu, stands up well, comes back infield, then twists away, then tries to go on the outside and gets the crossing towards the near post, but because of the angle that Tomiyasu forced him to deliver the ball from, it was too close towards the goalkeeper who plucked it.
Absolutely, Navas had about 2 or 3 goes at him, realised he perhaps wasn't going to beat him from the standing start, and just try to get that sort of half a yard and whip it round, but wasn't able to do it enough, and that's really good defending from Tomiyasu. Look, it's been a comfortable first half from Arsenal, and you get the feeling if they really need to win this, if they really want to win this, they can step it up. Conditions not been great, it's raining, the pitch is poor. I've not seen anything of Sevilla going forward and yet to have a shot on goal yet, the home side. So defensively they've done well, Arsenal. How much do they want to try and go and win this game and come away with all 3 points?
What do you want to see better from them going forward? Is it that Christmas for connection, the weight of passes, making sure that they make those attacks count? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, look, from a personnel point of view, I want to see more of Odegaard. I think, I want to see him more in the game, but just to generally, play quicker, 1-2 touch football.
Campos has spotted the run through the middle of the pitch with En-Nesyri. He's got him behind the defender and he shoots towards the far corner and he misses the target. But there was just a flash of what Sevilla can do on the break. It was all started by Sergio Ramos, who picked the ball up in his own half, charged forward, played a pass in towards Campos, who then released the ball through the middle of the pitch, looking for the run of En-Nesyri, who timed it brilliantly, took on Tomiyasu, who was coming back to try and to force him into an early shot. He dragged the shot just narrowly wide of Raya's left hand upright. I think the goalkeeper had it covered, but that was a really dangerous attack from the home team.
Yeah, listen, that's been their best chance of the first half as we come into half-time as well. And I think that's the problem you get sometimes with Tomiyasu coming inside, playing into midfield. He was saying to Gabriel, look, you stay, I'll get him here. But he wasn't able to get in behind, where it actually would have been better for Gabriel to come across. He would have had less running to do. Half a chance for Sevilla, and just before the break, and it gives them a real belief that maybe they can break this Arsenal side down.
Sevilla 0, Arsenal 0. We played 2 minutes of added time. Bukayo Saka getting a little bit frustrated. What Arsenal can't afford to do is think, actually, it's been a comfortable start. Actually, it's okay to come away with a point here and then end up getting caught out.
Absolutely, and maybe they thought that after getting the first goal in France, So they absolutely need to have that kind of mindset of, we want to get all 3 points. We need to be at it 100% of the time. As I say, I think defensively, apart from that one moment, they've been very good indeed. Just going forward, they need to play the ball a bit quicker, and maybe this dodgy pitch has got something to do with it.
I think that's where that youthful naivety comes into it. When you've got the game in your hands, you've got to kill it, especially in big European ties like this.
Absolutely, and look, people are saying Arsenal aren't quite as free-flowing as last season, but I don't have a problem with that right now, because you don't win titles at this part of the season. I think they would have learned a lot what happened in those last 8 league games, 9 league games of the season.
Saka, nutmegged by Ocampos, who charges over halfway. He's got space on the left for Acuna, and he feeds him now. And the Argentine delivers across towards the far post. It's over the head of everybody and goes through to Luca Bacchio, who recycles it into the near post, steered away by Gabriel and cleared up to the middle. And Jesus, lovely little turn, and he feeds the ball into opposition half. And Martinelli is running clear. He's through the middle. He draws the goalkeeper, goes round him and pops it into an empty net. And on the breakaway just before half-time, Arsenal score a terrific counter-attacking goal. And Gabriel Martinelli, with rapier-like speed, goes charging into the Sevilla half, rounds the goalkeeper and scores the opening goal of the night. The Arsenal fans go crazy, and quite right too. It's Sevilla 0, Arsenal 1.
Well, that is an absolutely fantastic textbook counter-attack goal. And Gabriel Jesus, what a turn. First of all, his touch, and then with his Cruyff turn, takes 2 players out and just goes to Martinelli. Right, let's use your pace. And has he got the composure? Boy, has he. I wonder whether he'd take a shot. Remember quite early on in the first half, he took a shot, didn't go round the goalkeeper. Correct decision there. But he had loads of time, and it was absolutely superb. There was no way, any way, that Sevilla defenders were going to catch him. It's a one-on-one situation. He goes past the goalkeeper and just taps it into an empty net. And you know what? I don't think they've got anything to fear with this Sevilla side. I think player for player they're better. I think as a team they're better. And that is a massive psychological blow just before half-time.
That is the last action of the first 45. Sevilla often put up a bit of resistance when the English come to town. Only Chelsea and Manchester City have ever won at the Estadio Roman Sanchez Pizjuan. But Arsenal have given themselves a great chance of joining them on that list, thanks to that breakaway goal on the stroke of half-time. It is Sevilla 0, Arsenal 1.
Well, Middlesbrough lead at Norwich. We'll find out about that goal in a moment, but let's round up the 45, the first half here at Old Trafford. It's not been inspiring, Mickey Gray.
No, absolutely not, Adrian. It's Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0, and it's not a one that'll live in the memory bank for too long. Manchester United, for the first 15 minutes, didn't actually turn up for this game. They were terrible, and they could have found themselves behind on 2 minutes. A 30-yard strike from Mercury, saved by Onana round to the right-hand side of his post. Then on 5 minutes, they did hit the post, FC Copenhagen. Gonçalves with a right foot volley after he was assisted by El Yunusi over on the right hand side. United's first shot came at 16 minutes. Good play from Marcus Rashford down the left hand side, who played in Rasmus Højlund. Lovely pass, but his shot was well over the bar. Then Marcus Rashford had half a chance himself. Didn't really get any sting behind his shot on 21 minutes. Low shot down to the right hand side. Simple save for the Copenhagen goalkeeper. On 38 minutes, it was a Curie again down the right hand side. Great play. Worked the ball lovely onto his right-hand side. Got his shot away, but again missed the target with not enough pace on it. Erik ten Hag's got work to do in this second half. If they want to stay playing Champions League football after this group stage, need to improve a lot more. But FC Copenhagen would be quite happy with what they've seen so far. At the break, Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0.
Well, that chance where Copenhagen hit the post, Harry Maguire it was, who gave the ball away on the halfway line, and all of a sudden all the United players are racing back, and maybe Copenhagen should have taken the lead there, but United I think have been poor in that first half. United 0, Copenhagen 0 at half-time. I'll run down all the Champions League half-time shortly, but let's hear about that goal at Carrow Road. Talksport's Mike Shaw.
Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 1. They were by far the better team in the first half, and they took 34 seconds to open the scoring at the start of the second half. Sam Greenwood with the goal, but it was Hayden Hackney who pounced on a ball back by Giannoulis, then threaded it through for Josh Coburn, and he teed up Greenwood, whose shot was deflected in off Duffy. It's Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 1.
Let's give you the half-times very quickly in the Champions League. Man United 0, Copenhagen 0. Group C, Union Berlin 0, Napoli 0, Sporting Braga 0, Real Madrid 1, Rodrigo with the goal. Group D, Benfica 0, Real Sociedad 0. Also in Group D, Inter Milan beat Salzburg 2-1 earlier. And in Man United's Group, Bayern Munich were 3-1 winners away to Galatasaray. And in Group B, Lens 0, PSV 0. And Scott Minto, Arsenal lead 1-0 away to Sevilla just at the right time. It sounded, your commentary of it, you and Sam Matafei, sounded like a fantastic breakaway goal from Arsenal.
It was brilliant. It was classic. It was pace. It was a great touch, great bit of skill for Gabriel Jesus. And exactly what we were talking about. The pitch here is not good at all. It's cutting up at the moment. It's teaming down. Not always conducive to playing 1-2 touch football, but it's pretty much exactly what Arsenal did. The ball came after a Sevilla attack to Gabriel Jesus, and he took 2 players out with a Cruyff turn. And then it was like he just played it into the path of Gabriel Martinelli, who was running from his own half, so there was no way he was offside. There was no way anyone was catching him. And then it was all about the composure, and boy did he have that. He really did. He rounded the goalkeeper, tapped it in. And look, I think Arsenal have been the better side. I don't think it's been a great first half. I think it's been very tactical, almost chess-like. Sevilla haven't been good, considering they are the home side. And it's almost, we were talking about, look, if Arsenal really want this, they can come away with all 3 points. That one bit of magic from Jesus and then fantastic finisher Martinelli has shown what they're capable of. Now they need to stay focused in the second half, because they are the better side here.
Just update us, clear up the Bukayo Saka injury situation, because he was down for treatment.
He was, yes. I actually don't think it was a foul. I think it was just a collision. But it looked one of those. He's such an honest lad, isn't he? He's a great pro, for England and for club as well. And when he goes down, he's not one of those type of players to try and feign any kind of injury. So slightly worrying. He hobbled off and hobbled back on, but it looks like he's okay. But it's one of those where you sit down at half time and, once 10-15 minutes goes, it could swell up a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see whether he comes out in the second half. Arsenal need to wrap him up in cotton wool, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying that they've won this and they can afford to take him off. But we talked earlier about the strength and depth that Arsenal do have. If he's not quite right, I don't think you can risk him, because you don't want him out for a month or so.
Arsenal, word of warning, were 1-0 up in France away to Lens and lost it. Any sign of that happening tonight?
Not really. Funny enough, there was just that one chance just before Arsenal actually scored that Sevilla kind of created, that they had themselves went on the counter-attack. And I think that's how you kind of open these teams up, because if you play not very fast football, 1-2 touch, then they're both very well organised. But generally speaking, I haven't really seen anything. There's been some crosses coming in, I think have been well dealt with. And apart from, as I say, that one opportunity that Sevilla had, I think Arsenal have looked really comfortable. This is now about making sure they stay focused, they stay concentrated. Not great conditions for defenders if you're facing your own goal. Try and make sure, in terms of the fullbacks, you don't allow the crosses to come in. And if they carry on playing how they did in the first half, in the second half, they should, and I caution to say should, come out with all 3 points here.
You're on David Raya watch. How's he been?
Do you know what? He actually started nervously, Ada. I think, on the ball, he didn't look quite right. There was one misplaced pass that was suddenly pinged into the centre forward El Nazeri, and if his touch was better, he would have been through on goal. But actually, he's grown in stature throughout the game. He's looked much more comfortable. He's come out for some crosses as well and caught the ball very well. So generally speaking, I think he's done okay. I'd give him 6 or 7 out of 10. I still don't think Sevilla have really put him under pressure, but I think it's one of these games where, I think he has got time on the ball, and at the moment, he's doing all right.
Scott, for the time being, thank you very much. Second half coming up. Arsenal lead 1-0 away to Sevilla in the Champions League. Some goals going in early second half in the EFL and the National League, where Chesterfield lead York 1-0. Ollie Banks with that 3 minutes after the restart. Millwall 1, Blackburn 2. There was a 7-goal thriller between these two in this fixture at the end of last season. 3 already tonight. Callum Britton has just put Blackburn 2-1 up at the Den after 6 minutes of the second half. Northampton have equalised home to Orient. Who else but Sam Hoskins, their top scorer, their talisman. Boreham would have taken the lead at Dagenham. Leon Love makes it 2-1. Halifax take the lead against Hartlepool. Adams Senior. Wickham pull one back but trail 2-1 at home to Bolton. Luke Leahy with that goal. We'll head round the grounds in the Championship next on Talksport.
Kick-off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Happy birthday to you. Okay, Nathan, you're next. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Mum, my birthday's not till next month.
Like getting your money's worth? Introducing McDonald's Saver Meal Deals. Get a cheeseburger or mayo chicken, medium fries and drink for just $3.99. From 11am. Not available on delivery.
Ooh, 95p pumpkins at Tesco this Halloween. Think of the carving, the lanterns, the soup.
Mum, the pumpkin's my job.
Sorry, got a little overexcited.
Tesco, every little helps. Tesco standard pumpkin 95p each. Majority of large stores excludes Express, Whoosh and Northern Ireland.
Set for life from the National Lottery. Play on the app.
Prize may be capped. Account terms, rules, procedures and game-specific rules apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Introducing the new Philly cheese stack at McDonald's with 2 beef patties.
Oh, yeah.
Crispy and grilled onions.
So crispy.
Cheddar cheese.
Oh, cheese.
All topped with a melted cheddar cheese sauce.
Obsessed.
The Philly cheese stack. One for the cheese lovers. Available until the 21st of November. Served after 11 a.m. Participating restaurants only. Subject to availability.
Morrison's More Card exclusives are your ticket to big savings this Halloween. Like any 2 for £6 spooky sweet tubs, down from £4 each. That's more treats for your little terrors. Download the Morrison's More app today.
More reasons to shop at Morrison's.
Majority of stores subject to availability. 500 to 630 grams. Ends 31st of October.
Sometimes running a business can feel like cycling uphill with square wheels. But Xero online accounting software can help predict the future cash flow of your business, so you can stay one step ahead. Soon it'll feel more like freewheeling downhill. Woohoo! On a tandem.
All right, mate.
With a masseur on the back.
Oh, that's nice.
Search Xero with an X, because healthy business is beautiful business.
Leadership is about staying one step ahead. That's why the first ever all-electric BMW i5 comes with proactive care. Technology that monitors your vehicle and proactively initiates contact with you when something requires action. That way, we're there before you need us. Discover the joy of moving forward. Reserve your test drive at bmw.co.uk. Test drive subject to applicant status and availability.
What a team! What a team! And to think these lads have never played together and probably never will. That's the beauty of LiveScore Bet squads. It's free to play and all that counts is putting the ball in the back of the net.
And putting some cash in your pocket.
That too, Steve. LiveScore Bet squads. Every time they score, you score. Up to £50 in cash. Deposited account required. Players revealed Monday to Friday, max 5 per round. Withdrawable cash amount per goal varies. T's and C's apply. Bet responsibly. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hear the biggest sports stories first and fast with the Back Page Review on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Listen to Talksport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 for the latest breaking Back Page news, plus unbeatable reaction, opinion and comment. The Back Page Review on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
What a goal!
UEFA Champions League football.
A brilliant goal!
Live on Talksport.
Northampton take the lead against Orient. They were 1 down at half-time. Tam Hoskins with both. Wealdstone lead Oxford City 2-1 in the National League. Grimsby have equalised home to Colchester 2-2. Accrington 3-0 up away to Wimbledon, Joe Pritchard. And Barnet 0, Solihull Moors 1 at the top of the National League. Joe Newton puts the Brummie side in front. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together.
Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Arsenal leading Sevilla 1-0 at half-time, and the Gunners are 9-2 on to win. The draw is 17-4. Sevilla to win it 16-1. Here at Old Trafford, still United 0, Copenhagen 0. Copenhagen have hit the post. Rasmus Højlund probably should have scored, fired over. United are 5-3 on to win. The draw is 11-5. Copenhagen 6-1 to take all 3 points. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together.
Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
In League One, Carlisle equalise home to Burton 1-1. Jordan Gibson with the goal for Paul Simpson's side, and delayed kick-off for the Hawthorns in the Championship, where it's only just half-time. Dave Rowe.
West Brom 0, QPR 0. That's now 1 goal here in the last 3.5 games. An absolutely desperate first half. West Brom with much more of the ball, but no creative spark whatsoever. One early half chance when Thomas Asante couldn't connect with a Dean Garner through ball. Chalobah blazed well wide and Furlong headed over. That's been the sum total, because QPR haven't had a single effort on goal. Their bus was delayed in traffic on the way in. All I can say is they got here. West Brom 0, QPR 0.
Excellent. Chesterfield now lead York 2-0. Tom Naylor with the second for the Spireites. Let's go to the Championship game in the second half at Carrow Road. Mike Saul.
Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 1. The goal scored 34 seconds into the second half by Sam Greenwood. But since then, Marcelino Nunez has hit the bar for Norwich with their only notable chance of the game. And Matt Crooks has had a shot saved by George Long down low to his left. It's Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 1. In League One, Charlton Athletic were in front through Alfie May, but Haki Badalakin has scored 2 and Lincoln lead by 2 goals to 1. Managerless Lincoln. Gateshead pull one back at Rochdale, but they trail 2-1. We've got a goal at Huddersfield, Mark Wilson.
It's Huddersfield 0, Cardiff City 4, and this is a free kick out of the top draw. Callum Robinson brought down 25 yards out centre of goal. Up steps Perry Ng, and he has curled it right into the corner past the helpless Lee Nichols. They got booed off at half-time here, Huddersfield. I don't think they'll get booed off at the end, Adrian, because I'm not sure there'll be any home fans left. They're leaving around us now. 10 gone second half. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 4. Another one from the Crew Academy. Perry Ng sounds like an absolute cracker. What's happening in League One at the Abbey Stadium, Ian Abrahams?
Not a lot, an hour gone, still Cambridge, nil Portsmouth. I've got that Dave Rowe feeling. Zach Swanson's had a shot saved in the second half of Pompey. Even the half-time entertainment, 2 blokes trying to bang into each other in inflatables couldn't produce a goal when they were meant to. What chance these 2 teams, eh? It's still Cambridge nil, Portsmouth nil.
Let's give you the latest scores then. Championship, Huddersfield 4-0 down to Cardiff. Millwall 1, Blackburn 2, Borough 1 up at Norwich, Swansea 0, Watford 0, Leicester leads Sunderland 1-0 live on Talksport 2, that one, and West Brom 0, QPR 0 at half-time. League 1, Barnsley 2 upon Shrewsbury. Just waiting for Arsenal and Sevilla to come out for the second half. We'll take you there when that second half kicks off. Blackpool 3, Cheltenham 1, Stevenage 1 up at Bristol Rovers, Cambridge Pompey goalless, Carlisle 1, Burton 1, Derby 1, Exeter 0. We're underway here at Old Trafford 0-0. Lincoln 2, Charlton 1, Northampton 2, Orient 1, Port Vale 0, Posh 1, Wigan 1, Oxford 0, Wycombe 1, Bolton 2, and Reading 0, Fleetwood 1. In League 2, Accrington 3-1 up now at Wimbledon. Omar Bagil has pulled one back for the Dons, and it's Wrexham 1, Sutton 1. Let's go back to Spain. Sevilla 0, Arsenal 1. Second half with Scott Minto and Sam Matchface.
And you join us as we get underway at the start of the second half, with the rain still teeming down, and Arsenal leading by a goal to 0. Worth pointing out, I think, that Diego Alonso, the new head coach, is the former Uruguay manager who took over here just 14 days ago. It's only his second match in charge, and it has been a really tough start to the season for the home team. But Arsenal are here not with any generosity. They're here to take away 3 points and put themselves in a good position, because 6 points after tonight at the halfway stage would put them in pole position, I think, to qualify from this group, especially with 2 more home games still to come. Scott Minto.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Sam. That's what I was just about to say as well. I think the first 3 games are the difficult ones, or certainly the match day 2 and 3. Yeah, disappointing to lose the game in Lens, but they can come away with all 3 points with 2 more home games to come. I fancy them strongly in this group, I really do. So it's really important now you keep concentrated, keep focused, and even go for that second goal.
Odegaard forward up to Jesus after good triangles down the right-hand side involving White and Saka. Saka's picked it up again, right angle of the penalty area. Bit of space for Odegaard here to get a shot away. It's blocked by Samare and repelled to the edge of the edge of the Sevilla box. It comes via Jorginho to Tomiyasu, and then back out wide again. It goes to Martinelli, the goal scorer. He exchanges passes and plays the ball into the centre after a 1-2 with Saka, and then Rice trying to keep them penned in, and it's a little bit desperate this from the home team, as White then fizzes a shot goalwards. It goes over the top of the crossbar and goes out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. But it's a bright start from Arsenal.
It's a very good start on the front foot from Arsenal. I'm sure Mikel Arteta will be saying, look, we can go and get this second goal and try and put this game to bed. That's not to say they should really go for it. I think as the game goes on, as long as they don't concede, then Sevilla have to go for it. So even if they have to be patient 70-75 minutes and then Sevilla come on to them a lot more, they have the ability to counter-attack, as we've just seen with the Martinelli goal.
Sevilla 0, Arsenal 1, live on Talksport. Still Manchester United 0, Copenhagen 0. Here come Arsenal again. Jesus, the goalkeeper, stops it, comes back to Odegaard on the edge of the area, and he lashes it goalwards. The ball came through to Jesus from a throw-in on the left-hand side, but it was a Sevilla throw-in, And I must admit, I didn't think that there was much there for Jesus to chase initially, but he kept going, got hold of the ball, played it against the goalkeeper who came out rapidly, and then it bounced on the edge of the box for Ødegaard, and he reacted really quickly but couldn't keep his shot down.
Yeah, it was Martinelli who did the initial press, and then the ball kind of looped over for Jesus, who had a shot. The ball bounced to Ødegaard, and look, on his left foot, it's difficult. Again, we talk about these conditions, probably skidded up a little bit, but on his left foot, we know how good he is technically. Again, you concentrate on hitting the target. If he'd have done that with a keeper out of the goal, then it would have been every chance of getting that second goal.
Still 1-0 to Arsenal, but here comes Sevilla, looking to try and make their first foray into Arsenal territory of the second half. Luca Bacchio sends it wide. It's collected now by Navas, who's crossed into the box, takes a deflection off Tomiyasu, then goes out of play and away for the first corner of the second half.
Been a good battle, wasn't it? Navas trying to push on, get at Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu's defended really well. Again, I think just showing what a good decision that was to play him instead of Zinchenko. Defensively speaking, you've got to stay solid, and Tomiyasu's the man at left back, in my opinion.
Sevilla won their only previous home game against Arsenal, beating them 3-1 in the 2007-8 Champions League group stage. It was the first time that Arsenal had lost a game that season. Ball delivered in from the corner towards the penalty spot, and there was a couple throwing themselves at the ball, including Sergio Ramos, who went towards it and then steered it well wide of goal. No trouble for David Raya on that occasion. Wrestling and pushing going on inside the penalty area, but Ramos couldn't really do anything but just prod at the ball. Cleared away by Arsenal, and after Nasiri fouls a hold on to a ricochet, goes back to Ødegaard, and he in turn finds Saliba, swung out by Raya out towards the near side. Tomiyasu in those dark blue shirts with green backs and navy shorts, attacking the goal away to our left. Play the ball up to Jesus. Lovely little turn by him. Works his way out towards the left, then cuts back in and plays it square. Ødegaard out towards the further right-hand side, and Saka, whose cross aimed in towards Jesus, who gets a header in towards the Sevilla goal, but it took a deflection as he connected with it and popped up into the air, and it was an easy take for goalkeeper Orjan Neely.
Yeah, good defending from Navas there, just coming in and making sure Jesus wasn't able to get a clean header on the ball. But I tell you what, it's been a really good start from Arsenal. 5 minutes into the second half, look very much on the front foot. Ødegaard's getting more of the ball. They're pressing, they're not giving Sevilla any time at all, and they're looking dangerous when they start to open things up.
Still 0-0 between Manchester United and Copenhagen, and we'll go back to Mickey Gray very shortly. This is their second home game, isn't it, Manchester United, in the Champions League, and they're still yet to win. And they were beaten by Galatasaray in their first home game. Copenhagen certainly testing them in the second. Their third home game might be even more tricky, beginning of December. It's just a small matter of Bayern Munich. I suppose one of the only hopes that Manchester United might have, by then they might be fighting for just a Europa League place, the way things are going, and Bayern Munich might have the whole thing done and dusted. Tomiyasu trying to keep Luca Bacchio at bay as Arsenal, who look much more accomplished than their Mancunian counterparts, go towards the corner flag. Tomiyasu again just holds him off, and it's cleared away after a foul by Luca Bacchio from the free kick on this near side.
Yeah, I think you're right to compare the sort of strength of Arsenal, where United are hoping when they play Bayern Munich that almost don't play the full side. That's the situation United are in the Champions League at this moment in time, whereas Arsenal, I think, can very much be the dominant force despite their defeat in France in this particular group.
Arsenal coming forward once again, leading by a goal to nil. Martinelli with the goal, a brilliant breakaway goal which involved a wonderful take from Jesus, and he turned so elegantly and fed the ball in behind for Martinelli. And we said earlier in the game that if they're going to have a route to go, it might involve Martinelli's pace, and it certainly did, and that's how they broke the deadlock.
Yeah, they have to play Martinelli and Saka if they're fit. So dangerous. Just go in behind, use the pace, or you play into feet, one-on-one situations. You know, top class wingers in the Premier League and also in Europe as well.
Ben White in the right format position for Arsenal. A few of the Sevilla fans have just tried to move further towards the back out of the first few rows to keep away from the unrelenting rain. Cleared upfield by Ryan. Another great header that by Goodell. It's gone straight to Declan Rice, who's quite high up inside Sevilla territory. He plays it wide towards the left, and now it's taken on by Jesus, who tries to tease Navas, comes infield, right footed towards the far corner. Oh, it's terrific from Gabriel Jesus. It's a stunner. He scored in every Champions League game that Arsenal have played this season. He comes alive in Europe's premier competition. Arsenal are 2-0 to the good away in Spain, and Gabriel Jesus, cutting in from the left-hand side, has arced a rocket past the goalkeeper to make it Sevilla 0, Arsenal 2.
Brilliant. Again, just brilliant from the Brazilian. We saw the brilliance he had in making the assist for 1-0 for Martinelli, but this time he just picks the ball up sort of on the byline, and Navas cannot allow him to come back inside on his right foot. But they're so scared of the skill that he's got. He's already shown brilliant bits of skill when he's playing in central, and now he's picked the ball up left. He's allowed to come back inside, and it's just a wonderful strike, giving Neelan no chance whatsoever. But from a Sevilla point of view, it's really bad defending. Show him down the outside on his left foot, but by allowing him inside, brilliant from Gabriel Jesus, and a wonder strike. Look, I don't see how Arsenal can not get all 3 points here. It can only be a lack of concentration. They're so superior, especially in the second half.
Just 8 minutes gone in the second half, and Sevilla are 2 behind at home. Before Arsenal get too excited, it's worth remembering that Sevilla had won just 2 games this season before tonight. They aren't one of Europe's heavyweights, despite the fact that they won the Europa League last season. But Arsenal have dealt with this in some fashion tonight. They've looked controlled and composed all the way through. They haven't tried to force the issue. They've known that the game would open up for them at some point. They would find a way. They had belief in that, and they have certainly created enough chances to be 2-0 in front, and they are.
Yeah, look, you can only beat what's in front of you, and after what happened in France in the last match day, it was important to show that they can be the dominant side in this group, and they're certainly doing that.
I think they can go on and get more goals here tonight. We've still got another 40 minutes probably to play as Saka goes down the right-hand side. He's bundled to the floor by Campos. The referee looks at it, nothing more than that.
Sam, that's a foul. He's just gone into the back of Saka. He's not touched the ball at all. He's inside the box, and it's one of those you hear a lot. If that's outside the box, that's given as a foul, so that should be a penalty in my opinion.
I can tell you that the VAR, who is Marco Fritz, is not looking at it at this moment in time.
Well, I think it's subjective enough to say it's not a clear and obvious error, but I'm sorry, that's a push. He's not got anywhere near the ball. Saka's gone down. It's a penalty.
Declan Rice takes it on again, using that left-hand side and cutting in, then feeding Martinelli, who's in behind Goodell. He turns, twists, sends across to the far post. Saka is free, tees it up for Erdegaard, who strikes. It's blocked by Ramos, and then Acuna will try to clear from the left full-back position, but more Arsenal pressure is a-coming, and Sevilla are creaking now. Here the ball's on the right-hand side. Erdegaard can't quite creep it in, and it goes out and away for a throw-in over on the far side. Let's go to Old Trafford, where there's been chances at both ends, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, there certainly has. 57 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0. And it was the away side that had the best opportunity on 52 minutes. They got themselves down. Laraja it was. They played the ball down the right-hand side. He had a shot from the edge of the box, and it was outstandingly saved by Andre Onana. A minute after that, Manchester United go up the other end. Lovely play from Rashford, and Højlund played in Christian Eriksen, who came off the bench at half-time. They're just on the break now, Manchester United, so I'll just pull away from that, Sam. Rashford, and his touch has just gone too far. But 55 minutes, a couple of minutes ago, Rashford was played in by Rasmus Højlund, and he was given offside, but we've seen a replay, and he was onside. Then he was taken out just on the edge of the penalty area by the goalkeeper, Grabara. The referee just waved it on. We've had no VAR, no lines drawn on the screen whatsoever. It's a huge let-off for the away side. I'd love to see it again, but the game is certainly opening up now. But it's still Manchester United 0, FC Copenhagen 0.
The way it stands at the moment, Arsenal are going to go top of the group. I did tell you prior to the start of the game there was every chance that Arsenal could finish the night top, but they could also finish it bottom if things went against them. But at this moment in time, Arsenal are going to be top of their Champions League group. They lead by 2-0. Eric Lamela is on, so is Mariano Diaz. 2 changes for Sevilla as they look to somehow try and fashion a way back into this game, a game which really has been taken away from them by Arsenal, who's very patient, actually quite rather mature performance away from home in the Champions League. If they were accused of being a little bit naive in that first game against Lens, I think they seem to have learnt their lesson tonight.
I think they've been excellent, I really do. Again, in tough conditions, the pitch isn't great, it's raining heavily. I don't think they dealt with those conditions very well at Stamford Bridge at the weekend, but they certainly learned from it tonight. They've been excellent.
Have a corner to defend here, and Rakitic takes a delivery in towards the near post, and it's a brilliant header. Fantastic thumping header from Goodell at the near post, and Sevilla do strike back. Within moments of conceding the second, they are on the score sheet. Goodell's bullet header in front of the Sevilla fans. Brilliant corner from Rakitic, and it's an absolute thunderbolt from Goodell, and it's 2-1.
Well, just as we say how well they've been, how professional they've been, how defensively strong they've been, they go and do that, and it looks like it's Gabriel Jesus up against Goodell. How can that happen? You know, your centre forward, who's not the tallest at all, up against their centre back. It's clearly a zonal marking, but he's got to be telling people, and other people have got to be seeing that if that's an inch perfect, which to be fair it was, cross coming in, then he's going to win that 100 times out of 100. And do you know what, Sam? That's the first shot on target Sevilla have had. And somehow now the fans are getting behind them, and psychologically that really changes the game at the moment, where Arsenal win full control.
Well, and I just said that it was a mature performance up until that point. If they end up going away and throwing away a 2-goal lead here, then the naivety question will be raised against them once more.
Totally.
Well, they've won a corner at the other end in response to Sevilla's goal, and they will be hoping that it doesn't end up costing them. We're just about to hit the hour mark in Spain, and we've certainly got a game on our hands now. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2, and Sevilla looking to concentrate where Arsenal didn't from this set piece. It'll be taken wide on the left by Martinelli, who will send it in right-footed, arcing the ball deep towards the far post. It's headed away by Samare and out over on the far side and away for another corner for Arsenal. And it's a key period of the game now. And Arsenal need to assert their control back on it once more after gifting Sevilla a way back into the match. More forward players on the pitch now with Diaz and with Lamela. They can cause problems. Arsenal again loaded at the back post, looking to charge towards the middle as the ball is delivered towards that back post, but it's arced straight out of play, and it's out for a goal kick away to our left. It was overhit by Saka.
Yeah, it was a poor corner from Saka, wasn't it? Overhit. Arsenal couldn't do anything about that at the far post. You can see what he was trying to do, but they just need to regroup now. Again, this is a really good sort of questions being asked of Arsenal.
Mistake there by Acuna, and he's given the ball to Martinelli, and then he in turn has given it straight back to Rakitic, who's collided with Tomiyasu. The ball spilt into midfield, and Jorginho has taken control. It's a little bit scrappy. Ødegaard plays it wide out towards the Arsenal right hand side. They lead by 2-1. Goals coming from Martinelli and from Gabriel Jesus, and Saka dragged to the floor over on the far side by a combination of Acuna and Ramos. I'm not going to come down and say which one it was who had the final contact, but I think I'll let you guess. Acuna was dragging him and pushing him and then pulling him to the floor. And then Sergio Ramos came across just to make sure.
He was just saying, "Are you okay?" No, you've done the job I was going to do now.
The problem is that he came charging over to get Bukayo Saka, who'd already been nobbled. But because he's 37 years of age now, he couldn't get there in time to join in.
I think Saka saw Ramos coming as well and
just went to the floor.
The Acuna pull down was enough. Dangerous position here though.
And they have the free kick tight to the touchline on the far side because of that. And Saka's just overhit a cross from this sort of range, so he will hope to do better with it. Left-footed, a little bit driven towards the near post, and it spills off the gloves of Neeland and goes straight behind. He came out looking to punch that. Actually, I think he probably could have caught it, and he rose his two hands towards the ball, and it just fizzed off the top of his gloves because of the wet surface.
Great ball in from Saka after what was a poor ball in just a couple of minutes earlier. Really fizzed that in, and Neeland should have caught it, but in the end just fumbled it. Corner now for Arsenal,
which Martinelli's going to take from the near side. He'll hit it right-footed towards the back post, and they're loading up there again. So well defended by Sevilla, and then smacked clear by Navas, straight back into the sort of danger zone of the edge of the box, where there were 2 or 3 defenders coming out from the corner kick, and the attempted clearance is blocked by Gabriel. Does brilliantly, and it goes out for a throw-in over on the far side. So Arsenal just got to make sure that they don't get drawn into anything here. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2. We're in a tight game now because of that goal scored by Goodell in the 58th minute of the game, here live on Talksport. But Campos, who's come out to the right-hand side, trying to link with Lamela. Tomiyasu sticking to his task. Samare picks it up, moves forward towards the edge of the box, floats across in, aimed towards Mariano Diaz, who hits the top of the crossbar. He comes back out and it's cleared away. I think he handled that to control it before he whacked the crossbar. The referee has now pulled the play back and given handball against Mariano Diaz. But what an opportunity and what a strike.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the ball had gone past him, so he had to bring it down with his arm almost, and Ben White kind of stopped, which is dangerous, just in case people don't see it, the referee, but VAR would have seen it, and actually that was a decent save from Raya. It wouldn't have mattered in the end because of the handball, but it was a powerful shot coming in. He managed to get a touch onto the bar, and that would have given him more and more confidence as well. But what it does do, even though it wouldn't have counted, it gives Sevilla again, and the crowd as well, that bit more confidence themselves to believe that they can somehow get something out of this. And you're right, Sam, it's a real test for Arsenal to be professional, to show that they can deal with these situations away from home in the Champions League, because they are by far and away really the better side. It doesn't always mean they're going to come away with a win.
Well, the Spanish papers recognised that this morning, saying this was a chance to see whether or not Sevilla could back up their good performance against Real Madrid. They certainly have taken a bit of time to drag themselves into this game. They've been second best for large portions of it, but they are within 1 goal now, which will, as the time ticks away, breed nervousness amongst the Arsenal support.
Well, we know what happened at Stamford Bridge, where Arsenal, were kind of nowhere near Chelsea, and then somehow found a way to come back to 2-2 and actually could have won it at the end. So certainly the boot's on the other foot at the moment.
Ball sent long away by Tomiyasu. And Sevilla coming forward once again is picked up by Lamela, who spoke yesterday so eloquently about his love for Tottenham and how this game was so important as a result of that. Ball swung in by Navas, and then an overhead kick by Campos. Tries to test David Raya. It was a little bit too hefty and over the top of the crossbar. And an opportunity for Sevilla and a sign of the growing confidence.
Absolutely, I mean, it would have been one of the goals of the season if it had stuck back in the top corner, the way he volleyed it, the bicycle kick. But what it does show is absolutely they have the belief since they got that goal, and they're only 1 behind now.
Talksport bringing you live commentary from the Champions League tonight and tomorrow. 2 games in the Champions League tomorrow for you on Talksport and Talksport 2 as they come forward against Sevilla. Into the box they go. Diaz trying to go for the acrobatic on the edge of the box. After chesting it down, it hits a defender and goes out towards the left fullback area, and David Raya will go and retrieve it. And it's a yellow card for Mariano Diaz, and Lucas Ocampos is having a go at the referee, and he hasn't quite managed to get his point across. But the ball went into the box. It was headed across the face of goal, controlled by Diaz, very quickly smashed it goalwards, but it hit his own man actually and went out on this near side.
Ben White just needs to be careful. They'd lost the ball, Arsenal, on the left-hand side. He'd pushed up far too much. The ball was then played a cross-field pass. El Nasseri actually jumped above Saliba, and it meant actually in the middle Sevilla had an extra player. Diaz was able to chest it, and again that would have been some goal, wouldn't it, with an overhead kick as well. But it again is growing belief for Sevilla, where 2-0, and And in that second half, start of the second half, Arsenal were in complete control. They're not now. They need to get back to getting the ball down, playing, taking the sting out of the situation. Getting Odegaard on the ball, which we saw in the first 5-10 minutes of the second half. Haven't seen it in the last 5 or 10.
Another yellow card, this time for Jorginho. That's 2 in a minute after going through most of the game without one. And Arsenal just got to be a little bit careful not to lose their heads here. Bayern Munich winners earlier in Manchester United's group, still 0-0 in that game. Garnacho's just had a brilliant chance which he has fumbled. And Lens 1, PSV 1. That's a good scoreline for Arsenal, who lead here by 2-1. Napoli 1-0 up against Union Berlin. And Real Madrid lead against Braga by 2-1. Real Sociedad are 1-0 up against Benfica. Don't cry.
There's still time, Sam.
Go through the scores in the Championship in just a second. And the ball is in play once again with Sevilla's Ivan Rakitic trying desperately to get on the ball. Samare plays it forward. It's into the path of Lamela plays it back to Rakitic, and then Rakitic tries to conduct from a midfield position, plays it into a Campos, then on to Lamela. Campos comes out on his right hand side again, slaloms towards the edge of the box. He's challenged by Martinelli, who pinches the ball and tries to run away. Lamela dives in and wins it back. Once scored a fabulous Rabona goal in a North London derby, Eric Lamela nudges it back towards Samare, and Sevilla have possession once again. 69, they're having their spell. Rakitic cut out by Jorginho, encouraging Declan Rice to charge forward. He does just that. He drags his team up the pitch. It's a brilliant run by him. He's got Saka out on the far side. He's fed him. Saka into the penalty area, needs a bit of support, but tries to go it alone, and in the end his shot cannons off the defender. There may well have been an offside flag for the initial phase in the first place, which gives a free kick to the home side. 2-1 Arsenal.
What a brilliant run from Declan Rice, though. We've seen him do that in the West Ham shirt for years, and he'll be doing that in an Arsenal shirt for many years to come as well. Drove past 3 people. I think his legs kind of went just a little bit, played into Saka, who actually I feel should have done better.
They've only just started in the second half at the Hawthorns, and there's a penalty, Dave Rowe.
Penalty to West Brom. West Brom 0, QPR 0. Kenneth Powell with the foul on Grady Diangana. Really clumsy challenge in the aftermath. Jimmy Dunn has been sent off. Brandon Thomas Asante steps up now, right-footed, and blasts the penalty home for his first goal in 8 games. The sending off of Jimmy Dunn, booked for an off-the-ball incident moments ago, then complaining about the penalty. 2 ridiculous yellow cards. QPR down to 10 men, and the goal scored by Brandon Thomas Asante. West Brom 1, QPR 0.
It's not great for Queen's Park Rangers, not great for their manager either. Queen's Park Rangers about to lose 5 in a row now. They're down to 10 men, although there's still a long way to go in that game because they were delayed so heavily because the QPR coach got stuck in traffic. Lamela picks the ball up deep inside his own half. 70 minutes played in the Champions League. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2, live on Talksport. The ball sent wide out towards the left-hand side. Mariano Diaz takes it on, looks to try and tease Ben White. Goes on the outside, plays it against the feet of the Arsenal right. Fall back and it's a corner.
Yeah, good defending though from Ben White, wasn't it? He's showing round the outside, and Diaz not believing he had enough pace. Well, they have got a corner. And it's a completely different Sevilla side from when they were 2-0 down, even in the first half, to getting that goal and being just 2-1 down.
Well, this is a danger now because Goodell now being watched by Martinelli in the middle of the pitch, and I'm not sure that's advisable. Gabriel Jesus is trying to keep tabs on Sergio Ramos. The ball's delivered in towards the near post. It's away by Gabriel. Picked up by Samare and then sent back towards the slender figure of Gabriel Jesus, but Navas gets there first, out wide towards the left-hand side, and Sevilla look to try and build once again. Ball on the right side, Saka intervenes. Tackle for him. There's a problem here for Tomiyasu, who feels he's been stamped on. We'll come back to that in just a second because there's been a big goal at Old Trafford and a big goal scorer too. Here's Mickey Gray.
72 minutes gone. It's Manchester United 1, FC Copenhagen 0. Manchester United been knocking on the door. On the right hand side, they play the ball out to Christian Eriksen, who came on at half time. He whips across into the box, and Harry Maguire heads it down into the ground to give Guevara absolutely no chance in that Copenhagen goal. I think the goal's going to stand. We're just waiting for it, Sam, now, but if it does, this is a massive opportunity for Manchester United to pick up all 3 points in this game. Manchester United 1, FC Copenhagen 0.
They'll just check for offside against Harry Maguire. It's very tight, but he looks onside and he scores a thunderous header despite being pulled by the defender beyond the goalkeeper. And Manchester United look like finally they have their lead. Ødegaard has been substituted. He's coming off the field of play. Kai Havertz is coming on for Arsenal with 18 to go here. A sensible substitution?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, first of all, Sam, can I just say I'm really pleased for Harry Maguire. I think he's a fantastic professional. I think he's been unfairly treated by certain sections, maybe on the social media rather than the media itself. So I'm really pleased that he's come through and scored that goal there and actually playing in a Manchester United shirt. But yeah, you know, I talked about how we wanted to see more of Martin Ødegaard. We saw it really at the sort of start of the second half, and then once Sevilla got their goal, we haven't really seen anything of him, and I think this will sort of shore things up. It's not as if exactly he's a holding midfielder, Kai Havertz, but you know, Ødegaard just didn't see enough of him. The game was passing him by.
Well, the pressure on Manchester United in the Champions League. They lead by a goal to nil. They're hoping to avoid 3 defeats in a row. And FC Copenhagen have scored in all 11 of their away games so far this season, and that game still has 17 minutes to run. We've got around about the same here. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2. That's the latest scoreline on Talksport. And Arsenal, who will go top with a victory here, if the scorelines stay as they are, know that it will be a sizable step towards the knockout stages should they record all 3 points. They are defending at the moment, and Sevilla having a bit of a spell. Acuna out towards the left-hand side. It's played back to him, and he approaches the edge of the penalty area. It's swung in towards the middle of the park, and El Nassiri is challenged by David Raya. I think there was an offside flag up there, but El Nassiri shows his prowess in the air, getting above the goalkeeper, who had to come and get something on that.
Yeah, fair play to him. He did, though, David Raya. And actually, just before as well, very calm, passing the ball out. He's definitely well offside. I wouldn't say the most convincing of punches, but it was enough to say that he was making sure that the ball wasn't going in the back of the net.
I heard you on Talksport 2 earlier with Adrian Durham, and you were suggesting that the statistics about certain statistics that are used, Arsenal's record in Spain meant nothing, which I was a little bit disappointed about, because it is worth knowing that Arsenal's record in Spain isn't great. In fact, it's poor. They've won just 3 of their last 17 away games against Spanish opposition.
Yeah, Adrian said that.
Yeah. My argument to you would be that although you think that's irrelevant, Spanish opposition over the course of the last 20 years have probably been the toughest opposition, and I think it shows that as a club they haven't been able to raise their levels to match the best. Being able to do it now may be a sign that they're improving.
Well, one, as you rightly say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, the big boys of Spain were very good and the powerhouses of Europe. 2, I wouldn't put Sevilla in that particular case, especially today.
Not today, but they have won 7 Europa Leagues. They know how to get around Europe, as Eric Lamela dives past Saliba and earns himself a yellow card for simulation.
It's the second tier of top English football, Europa League, not the Champions League, and they fell out the Champions League last season. And thirdly, if I'm a player for Arsenal right now, I don't really care what happened 10 years ago.
That's the end of that argument. Let's go off to a goal at Norwich, Mike Schull.
Well, the Norwich fans are heading for the exits. Middlesbrough heading into the top 6. It's Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 2. Substitute Samuel Silvera with a low shot from the edge of the area, which beat George Long. Norwich 0, Borough 2.
Middlesbrough having a great run at this moment in time, aren't they? They've really picked up after a tough start to the season. It's 7 in a row that's going to be for Michael Carrick. Well done to him. Not great for Norwich, because they've had a terrible run. They've lost 6 now of their last 8 games, and they've conceded a lot of goals in that time as well. They need to tighten up. They need to tighten up quick. Saka moving down the right side for Arsenal. Just nudges the ball past Goodell. Gets into a crossing position, then checks back. Gives it to Kai Havertz, who plays it back to the England man. He tries to take on Sergio Ramos. Produces a cross, left-footed, hooks the ball towards the far post. And actually, it was closer to the goal than I think the goalkeeper initially anticipated. Whizzes past the post and goes behind and away. for a goal kick. 2-1 to Arsenal. 15 minutes to go. And if you're Mikel Arteta, are you thinking about making any defensive substitutions or tactical tweaks that stop you from being penetrated here?
Well, I think he's tried to do one, hasn't he, by taking Odegaard off and not necessarily with bringing
Here's Lamela again on the edge of the area looking for a Campos, who's now 10 yards back from it. They're getting back into a tight-knit two banks of four as Jesus Navas tries to tease across into the centre, does brilliantly. It's headed away by Saliba and out towards the far side. But those crosses from Navas are dangerous, and they have to be on their mettle here, Arsenal, in the closing 13 minutes or so.
Yeah, just looking at the bench, there's only really sort of El Neni you could play as a sort of holding midfielder, really. The rest are more attacking players, or maybe a Zinchenko, but you don't really want to be bringing him on unless he's sitting in front of Tomiyasu on the left-hand side. I think you still want that kind of threat of Martinelli. I think Martinelli actually has been better than Saka this evening as well, so if you're going to take off maybe a wide player, maybe take off Saka, but generally speaking, I think Elneni's the only one I would think about possibly putting on.
Big change here. Jesus Navas coming off. Juan Luis Sanchez, the right winger, really, a bit like Navas, who's going to play at right back and has been playing at right back. Was on loan at Mirandes in the Segunda Division last season. He's a former Spanish under-19 player, only 20 years of age now. Comes on to replace him. Another change for the home team. Quiz question for you. Gabriel Jesus has scored. He's now the second player in Arsenal's history to score in his first 3 Champions League games for the club. Who is the other?
It's going to be someone we wouldn't expect, isn't it? Because Thierry Henry stands to mind, but I don't think it's going to be him.
Nope, it's not him. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Ball played forward towards Mariano Diaz. It's cut out, though, by Tomiyasu coming in from left back into the centre. He's cleared away by the Arsenal defence and up towards the new captain, Jesus, who's just tugged his hamstring here because he's gone for a ball and then held the back of his thigh, dropped to the floor. The referee has stopped the game, and there is some concern that maybe his right hamstring has just been injured in that movement, and that would be a problem for Arsenal. He doesn't look comfortable at all. He's gone down, he's receiving treatment. We'll go off to a goal at the Hawthorns. When we come back, we'll give you an update on what's happened to Gabriel Jesus. Here's Dave Rowe.
West Brom 2, QPR 0, probably point safe for the home side. Grady Diangana's first goal since early February. Neat move, Phillips playing in. Chalobah step inside in the penalty area. Square ball across. Diangana with the finish. West Brom 2, 10-man QPR 0.
Well, it came after an impact injury, didn't it? And they're warming up Nketiah, and he was holding the back of his thigh. And he is going to have to go off here, I think, Gabriel Jesus. It looked quite strange because he didn't seem to do anything that would suggest you would tug your hamstring there, Scott.
No, and the fact that he's got up and he's walking off, I wonder whether it's almost a touch of cramp. You know, because it's a very innocuous challenge. It wasn't a foul in any way. It didn't look like, well, when he first went down, it looked like he was in real pain, but now he's walking off. I don't think the physio would allow him to walk off in the way he is, and the pace he's walking off, if he'd tweaked, let alone pulled his hamstring, he wouldn't be able to walk like that the way he's pulled it. So I just wonder whether it's a touch of cramp, get off and bring Eddie Nketiah on.
Well, he's shaking his head and high tens with Nketiah, and Trossard also coming on as well to replace Bukayo Saka for the final 10 minutes. Off to League One, full time for Ian Abrahams.
Cambridge 0, Portsmouth 0. So Portsmouth will increase their lead at the top to 4 points because Oxford have lost, but this was uninspiring really. Abu Kamara hit the post in the first half. That was just about it for the entertainment. Cambridge 0, Pompey 0.
Sorry about that, Moose. Pompey got a big game in the FA Cup coming up on Bonfire Night. They play Chesterfield, who are doing very well in the National League in the first round of the competition. And of course the FA Cup will be live on Talksport this year as well. Arsenal lead by 2-1. Trossard and Eddie Nketiah on, Saka and Jesus off, and Arsenal defending a lead which will take them at this moment in time top of their Champions League group.
Yeah, I think there's good substitutions from Mikel Arteta. Clearly Jesus struggling a little bit, bringing Nketiah on.
Here is Juanli down the left-hand side, the right-hand side, the Arsenal left, and his cross is defended well, and Rice has found Nketiah, and then Rice has tried to nudge it back to him, but it was intercepted by Goodell after a little deflection. Collected by Lamela, who travels forward, clips the ball in towards the box, and it's straight into the feet of David Raya, and Arsenal calming things down. Goal at Norwich for Mike Stewart.
And Norwich have pulled a goal back. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2, but they only have about 30 seconds or so to try and rescue a point in this game. It's Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2.
Cardiff leading 4-0 away at Huddersfield. Blackburn have beaten Millwall 2-1. Middlesbrough 2-0. 2-1 up against Norwich. Watford have beaten Swansea away from home. Leicester over on Talksport 2 lead Sunderland 1-0. And West Brom 2-0 up against Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship. Adrian will round up all the scores from League One to the National League and beyond before we leave you at 10 o'clock tonight, when you can have yourself on the Sports Bar 0371 722 3344. Here's Trossard down the left-hand side, trying to make an impact, as he has done so often this season off the bench. Plays it against the defender, goes out for a corner on this near side.
Yeah, he made a massive impact at Stamford Bridge, didn't he? But I agree with the substitution as well. Martinelli's been the better of the two wingers. Take Saka off, bring on Trossard. Martinelli's gone to the right now. It's Trossard on the left. Yeah, fresh legs. He's been excellent, hasn't he, whenever he's come on for Arsenal.
We'll try and get to Old Trafford as well to find out about the closing stages there after we've seen this corner kick. And Trossard just being questioned by our referee, Glenn Nieberg of Switzerland, to see whether or not his ball is overhanging the quadrant before he takes this corner. It is, and he hits it right-footed deep towards the far post. Saliba rose and couldn't get anything on it. He thought he was being tugged by Ramos. It goes behind and away for a goal kick. So off to the John Smith, where it's full time for Mark Wilson.
Yeah, Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 4. Damage done in the first half. Goals for Robinson, Gutes and Meite, giving the Bluebirds a 3-0 lead at the break. But Perry Ng's 25 yards screaming free kick was the pick of the bunch. Rodoni hit the bar laid on for Huddersfield. He was the one player to emerge with any credit. Disastrous night for Huddersfield. Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 4.
Tomorrow we've got Young Boys against Manchester City live on Talksport. Tonight we brought you the Sevilla game and goals from the Championship. There's been quite a few at Carrow Road for Mike Chilwell.
Final score, Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2. A 6th consecutive league win, a 7th in all for Borough. Sam Goodwood's goal 34 seconds after the interval, and an injury time goal by substitute Samuel Silvera gave Michael Carrick's side a deserved win. They were composed and assured Norwich ragged and lacking in conviction until Jonathan Rowe fired in a late consolation. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2.
7 in a row for Michael Carrick as Middlesbrough are victorious once again. Arsenal lead here by 2-1 on Talksport, with Juanlu picking the ball up for Sevilla on the right side, trying to take on Trossard and then committing a foul and giving away a free kick. What would you rate this performance out of 10 from Mikel Arteta's team?
Do you know what? I'd say it's a 7. I think they have been professional. I think they've controlled the majority of the game, but disappointing, one, to concede the goal in the way that they did and the manner that they did, and the fact that Gabriel Jesus was picking up a centre-back on a set piece. And then the next sort of 10-15 minutes after that, you'd expect really the home side to come up, and it's a Champions League game. You know, they're playing away from home. But if they are to come away with all 3 points, then I think it would be at least a 7, if not a 7.5. I don't think it's been a vintage performance. They could have finished it off. They've been clinical when they've needed to. They have been the better side. But there's still been times where you're thinking, I'm not quite sure how this game's going to end up.
Do you want the answer to the quiz question, by the way?
I do. No one's texted me in that's been listening and knows me, so please tell me.
I notice even our Arsenal supporting producer hasn't got involved, because he doesn't know who is the only other player to have scored in their first 3 Champions League games for Arsenal.
Give him another minute.
Okay. Gabriel Jesus has done it, scored on each of his first 3 appearances in the Champions League. Someone else did it too. Who was it? We'll give you another minute, 81089 on the text. And we'll try and name check a couple of people who get it right, if indeed there is anyone.
Absolutely.
Scott hasn't got a clue. He's looking at me as if saying, I know it's someone I'm not going to get. Juanlu, down the right-hand side, feeds the ball into the path of Eric Lamela. Lamela tries to take on Declan Rice, who challenges him and plays it out towards the near side instead, and then Nketiah will drag his team up the pitch, but then loses it. Won back well by Juanlu, and then taken on by Rakitic. 3.5 minutes to go. Played out to Juanlu once again. Infield towards the edge of the penalty area, and Lamela. He sent his fullback too wide, and the cross in the end was a difficult one to dig out. It goes against Tomiyasu. Out for a throw. Thrown in quickly. Rice senses the danger. Gets there ahead of Lamela. Hacked away by Tomiyasu. And Diego Alonso wants to get things moving again, but it's difficult to control the bouncing ball.
Do you know what? There's been some really good performances. I think Gabriel Jesus obviously scoring, and that wonderful turn to make the assist has been good. I think Martinelli's been good. The back four have been solid. Declan Rice, for me, he's been absolutely superb. He's been everywhere, going forward and defensively.
2010-11, by the way, is the season. Ball sent into the box by Sevilla. It's high into the air, and they haven't defended it quite well yet. Arsenal. It's been won by Campos, back in by Juanlu, into the air again by Jorginho. It's going to drop on the penalty spot, and it's headed goalwards, and David Raya has to spring to his left and make sure it doesn't sneak in.
Do you know what? They're knocking at the door, aren't they? And I wouldn't say Arsenal are getting nervous by any stretch of the imagination, but that's half a chance. I mean, I'd be surprised if David Raya would be beaten from there, a header from almost 10 yards out, but still.
A couple of times where the ball just went up into the air and no one really knew where it was going to land, and there was a bit of uncertainty, and you don't want that in the last 2 minutes when it's 2-1 to Arsenal and they're trying to see it out. Oh, that's a poor ball out towards the near side, and the Campos can't keep it in, and they're going to lose here again. The first defeat in 5 matches, but it's been a dreadful start to the season for Sevilla, and I think there's a bit of frustration amongst the fan group. Any guesses?
Give me...
No, I'm not giving you any more time. It's Marouane Chamakh.
Do you know what?
A few people on the text have got it right. Vigo, Sam and Donny, Adam in London all have texted us in very quickly with their answer of Marouane Chamakh.
I thought producer Keelan got it right, but he's only reading off the guys who's texted in.
He actually said his first guess was Lucas Podolski, but then he was very quick afterwards, after we gave him the year, and said Chamakh. So
well done,
congratulations to everyone who got that correct. Good knowledge, as they say. 89 minutes on the clock. Arsenal just trying to kill the game. They're just literally making sure that every single ball that goes out of play is delayed. Manchester United leading by a goal to nil thanks to Harry Maguire's header in a tense match at Old Trafford. Is just about to get over the line. Here, Sevilla just trying to drag themselves back into it after that Goodell goal, but Martinelli and Jesus did the damage either side of half-time, and that should be enough. Reading Laurent speak this morning, saying that he thinks that Arsenal are ready to win trophies again. They've grown up as a football club. Well, if they can get over the line here, that will be another feather in their cap, that's for sure. And it will be the first win on Spanish soil for Mikel Arteta as a manager. But there's still stoppage time to be played. Sergio Ramos charging forward. It's played out towards the left, and then Acuna plays it back infield. Collected by Lamela, who switches the play out towards this near side, the right. Juanli goes towards the edge of the box, looks for a 1-2. Tomiyasu, well stationed, heads it away, and Declan Rice is there again to try and outwit Campos. Dig the ball out and put it out for a throw on this near touchline. Ball thrown in. Comes to Goodell, the goal scorer. We've got 6 minutes of added time for Sevilla to try and prize the way through this Arsenal defence.
There is time.
Ball into the box. Aimed towards Ramos, who heads it goalwards, but it's over the top of the crossbar. I think Mariano Diaz got in the way, but it was a brilliant delivery by Rakitic, and it was attacked well by the experienced centre-half. And Arsenal are going to make a change as a result of that, Scott. They're going to take off a forward player in Martinelli and bring on Jakob Kivior to stiffen up the defence for that 5 minutes of stoppage time.
Well, it's the extra centre-back, isn't it? I think Martinelli has been superb. It's been a fantastic performance away from home, where the forward players don't really see much of the ball. Him and Jesus have been very, very good, but I can understand this. There was a ball that came in there from Rakitic, and we know that Sergio Ramos can score an important goal or two in Europe, can't he? So,
yeah, even
dangerous times.
When you think everything is lost, sometimes he can pop up with something that changes the course of history. Absolutely. He has done it before. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2 in the final few minutes of the game here. We're into the second of 6 added, live on Talksport, and Sevilla trying to up the ante a bit. Arsenal have got to keep concentrated. They struggle in Spain. They don't win in Spain. And they are going to win here unless they concede a goal late on in the match. Ball played down the left towards Rakitic, who's not going to get on the end of it, and Raya is, and he smothers it and will clear.
Yeah, that's brilliant play from Gabriel. He could easily have just tried to clear it first time, and the pressure still would have been on Arsenal, but he allowed the ball to come across him, and David Raya come out just to pick it up. And look, I understand Kivior coming on and Martinelli coming off. The only problem with that is it becomes almost an attack versus defence, and you're kind of conceding that possession. So it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to try and keep the ball up into Sevilla's half, but by having that extra central defender, hopefully it will make sure that they don't concede a goal.
Trossard doing well. Rice running laterally in the middle of the opposition's half. He plays it out towards Havertz and gets it to Jorginho. Havertz has got it once again, gives him a little bit of control. Havertz, he's very good technically on the ball. Out wide towards the left, and it goes to Tomiyasu. Rice is playing a little bit further up now, just on the edge of the box, just trying to occupy Goodell. Ball goes out on the near side, and it's cleared away. Juanlu throwing it in from the right hand side, trying to cause a bit of a problem. Goodell back to Sergio Ramos, charging forward in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Sevilla 1, Arsenal 2 on Talksport. Tomorrow, Ali McCoist and Alan Brazil back together again to unpick all the Champions League action and build up to tomorrow night's action, which will be featured on kick-off from 6 o'clock on Talksport 2 and 7 on Talksport. Here's Acuna with a delivery into the box. A flick on by Diaz. Almost scooted through to Ramos, who's gone up there to bolster the attack in the final few moments. Comes back out towards the right position. Arsenal got to hang on here right at the very end. They've done the hard work. They've got 2 goals away from home. They can't allow this situation to fall away from themselves. They've got to shut out Sevilla. A step towards the Champions League knockout stages is within their grasp. Soumare, on loan from Leicester City, travels forward, finds Rakitic, sprays it wide right. Juanlu tries to take on Trossard, produces a lovely cross. Raya makes a mistake, it comes off his forearm and it spills behind and goes out for a corner. Well, I'm not entirely sure that anyone knows why that ball went behind David Raya, but it did. It squirmed off his forearm, went behind and goes out for a corner kick. How did they get away with it?
Well, still not sure. They haven't as yet. The corner comes in.
Rakitic in towards the centre, bounces on the edge of the box. Problems for Manchester United at Old Trafford, but Acuna drives the ball back into the box here. Arsenal trying to survive, and they've just about done that. Raya's got away with one. Somehow, some way, it spun off his forearm and went behind him and over the bar when it could have gone anywhere. Ball out wide towards the right. It's collected by Juanlu. He takes it back off Campos. Tries to get the cross in. He goes short instead. Rice is there to snuff out the danger. He had to be. He was alert and he managed to clear. Nketiah's not there to pick up the pieces. And they go forward once again with Acuna. There's a penalty at Old Trafford. We'll get there very shortly. The ball's gone into the arms of David Raya, so he must go to Old Trafford where there's a penalty check and a massive moment. Nicky Gray.
Yeah, well, we're in 94th minute here, Sam. It's still Manchester United 1, FC Copenhagen 0, but Scott McTominay in his own 18-yard box has tried to clear the ball off the line, and he's brought down El Yanusi. No contact with the ball whatsoever. The referee's pointed to the spot, and they're just about to put the ball on the spot now, and it's Larson who's put the ball on the penalty spot, and this is going to be an absolute nightmare for Manchester United. They've missed so many opportunities, but if this goes in, this is not the result that the home side needed in this group stage of the Champions League. Referee's just getting everybody outside of the 18-yard box now, but it's Larson who came off the bench, who's the man who's put the ball on the penalty spot. They've argued their corner, Manchester United, but we've seen replays of it, and it was a foul, it was a penalty, it was checked, but it is Larson who now steps back. Going to take this one with his left foot. Referee's just trying to keep everybody outside of the 18-yard box. Just about to blow his whistle. Here we go. Larson steps up. Oh, and it's saved! Onana saves it from Larson. Absolutely incredible. Left boy plays it across to the left-hand side of Andre Onana. He's had a nightmare start to his career at Manchester United, but they absolutely love him right now. He's cheering to the supporters. What a save! Could that be all 3 points going to Manchester United? The penalty was great. To the right-hand side, lots of pace. Perfect height for a goalkeeper, but he saved it. Andre Onana. Manchester United 1, FC Copenhagen 0.
Arsenal have beaten Sevilla. They take a giant step towards qualifying for the knockout stages by becoming only the 3rd English team to win here in Europe. It's a triumph worth celebrating for Mikel Arteta and their supporters, who know that one more win should probably do it for them. Sevilla were under new management, but their problems won't be solved that easily, which is good news for the Gunners when the teams meet in November. 2 goals, one either side of half-time, did the damage. There was a brief fight back right at the end, Scott Minto, but Arsenal saw it out.
No, they did, and look, over the whole 90 minutes, they were really by far and away the better side. They were so comfortable at 2-0, concede a goal at a set piece, and to be fair to Sevilla, they never gave up. But you'd expect that. They're playing at home, they're a proud club. But I think that's a really good win, especially after what happened against Lens in the match day 2. For them to come here now and get a win and take control back of the group, I think that was fantastic. Listen, David Raya made a massive mistake right at the end and got away with that one. But I'll tell you what, that's 3 really good points for Arsenal.
It's a good night for the English clubs in Europe. Manchester United victorious and Arsenal winners in Spain. They go top of their group. They've beaten Sevilla by 2-1.
Late drama. Arsenal surviving that scare given to them by their own keeper right at the end. And